It's February 5th, Monday, Monthly Takeover. The first one of 2024. I am at Joel Pearl. It's time to get in the weeds. Jeremy Lambert is here. It's going to be a very busy show. It's going to be a great show. Hell of a show. Best show we've ever done. Hi, Jeremy. How you doing?
I'm well, Joel. Hello, everyone here on the main channel. It's been a month. It's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks. But we're here. We're kicking. We do have a great show for everybody. A lot to talk about.
Plenty. I messed up. We did do a Monthly Monday Takeover because we were the January 1st
January,
show.
yeah. This isn't the first. This is the first one of the month. The only one of the month, technically.
I got confused because it was the first and it was such a... January was a lifetime ago. True. So all I can think about is how we haven't done one yet. But no, I'm wrong. You're right. We had done one on January 1st because we didn't do a Christmas show because what happens on Christmas Day?
Exactly. No pop.
Exactly. And that's how we got taken down on this video today. Anyway.
I used it too early? We got 7 seconds.
It's been a minute and a half.
So?
Anyway, we got plenty.
We can use it for 7 seconds. It's a 3-second clip, but we're good, right?
No, we're not. Nothing's good. Everything's fine. Let's get right into it. Today is going to be a busy day, like I said, at 10:15. So in about 10 minutes time, we're looking forward to welcoming Tim Marchman from VICE News onto the show. We're going to talk about VICE's coverage of the Vince McMahon lawsuits and some of the stories that they've broken through that investigation, through that news story that's been developing. We're going to talk to him about a whole plethora of things. Looking forward to that. That's at 10:15 a.m. Eastern, so in about 10 minutes time. We, of course, are going to have to talk about what happened on SmackDown and the ever-expanding Rock, Roman, Cody Rhodes story. Whose story is it? I should probably... we should have done an Everybody Loves Raymond, or whose line is it anyway? And I should have made the graphic, whose story is it anyway?
But see... Cody, he's an idiot.
You are going to get this taken down. You are going to get this demonetized. Stop it.
Why? It's not. We got 7 seconds.
No.
Put the fair use graphic up there, Joel.
No, it's not how it's happening.
What do you mean?
Stop throwing these videos up. I'm serious. We will get taken down. If believe me, if our other videos like the CM Punk returns to WWE storyline, if that gets taken down, Sean getting ready for Shaz and McKenzie, that got not taken down, but they all got struck. Stop it. Stop it.
Can't have any fun with these drops here.
Yeah,
can't have any fun.
No, you can't. No, not when it's gonna mess with everything. What if so unserious? No, I want to bring Connor Casey. Welcome to WrestleMania, where the matches are made up and stories don't matter.
Yeah,
that's what I was getting at. Whose story is it anyway? Here on CW.
Why am I gonna get us taken down? These are all fair.
It's copyrighted material. Stop it.
We got 7 seconds.
No, stop it.
Why not?
Stop it.
Can I? What if like we did the audio drop with a video? Would that have worked? Can we do that?
I don't know. Listen, the point here is we're here on Fightful Overbooked.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
Joel has given up on this show. I think I've legitimately made him mad. I think he's actually angry on this. I'm sorry, Joel. I'm very sorry. Mike, you're muted. Oh, there we go. Okay.
No, I know when my board is muted, Jeremy. It's got a big red light like the one I want to light you up with right now. Trying to get to the plugs. Are you going to do this to Tim? Are you going to do this to Tim Marchman? He's going to.
No, absolutely not. I'm going to be a professional. I'll be a professional.
Something tells me you won't.
I will totally be a professional. Joel, I got a lot of hate on Twitter this past weekend. I was trolling everybody on Twitter this weekend. Oh, that Cody Rhodes Money in the Bank intro with the rock roll that I got everyone. People were being very mean to me, Joel. They were telling me to go to hell. They were
Good.
threatening to beat me up.
Good.
It was very, very mean.
You might call it karma.
All because I like to have fun with my wrestling.
We're not allowed to have fun in wrestling. We've discovered this. We've talked about this. What I was trying to say is that we're here over on Fightful Overbooked Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern till noon. But at the top of every month, we come over to this channel, youtube.com/Fightful, and we bring this brand of nonsense along with it. Sometimes I want to punch Jeremy in the face in the beginning of the show.
Apparently, I can't use this brand of nonsense. If we use the audio clip with a photo, we'd be okay, right?
Probably. Yeah, more likely.
Okay. We'll start doing that.
Someone in the chat saying, cut Joel a break. He's tired after his match. I'm tired, period. I haven't slept well in 3 days.
Whose fault is that?
The dryness in my apartment. Anyway.
Why?
Well, there's a super chat that people are asking about the Brian Keith tweet. We'll talk about that in a few minutes because
you were being a little jerk on Twitter.
I don't think I was. I think I was being very very accurate in my depiction of what was going on.
Hater.
No, I'm not a hater. I question.
You hate AEW.
It's no. I know it's not what that is. Anyway. You wish I hated AEW. It'd be great. I do. By the way, I do have a humidifier for those in the chat. I do have a humidifier, and it's still messing me up. It's a cough. That 100-day cough that Jeremy has, I've got it now. So
mine's doing better.
Yeah, so is mine. It's just when I go to sleep, it acts up. It's fine. Joel hates. Don't stop it. I do not.
Why do you hate AEW, Joel?
I don't hate AEW, and I don't hate Brian Keith. We'll talk about that after we finish our conversation with Tim. So we'll get right into that. People, y'all are trolls. Anyway, while you're trolling us, why don't you troll us a thumbs up here on the video and subscribe to youtube.com/Fightful, and then head over to youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. Subscribe to us over there. We're over 15,000 strong. We got so much to go through. And of course, you can donate a super chat as well. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. People already started before we even got there. Do we want to, well, hit this one first. We got a very nice one from Arduit saying, the politics is succession level. Is it The Rock really politicking, or is it TKO creating a false crisis to get eyes off of them for the Vince McMahon lawsuit? Does this delay house cleaning with WWE or indicate it'd be coming sooner than later? I think Brandon Thurston summed it up very nicely in that the district attorneys in New York don't care about the WrestleMania main event.
Yeah. They don't care at all if it's Cody, Roman, Rock, bring back Cena, bring in Batista, hey, Rollins, Punk can go. They don't care. They're not looking at that at all. So while we might be mad about it online, I don't think this is going away anytime soon just because wrestling fans are mad about wrestling online. I don't think anybody has to worry about that.
Yeah, right now the conversation with Rock is, I think with most fans, it's a fan service thing. It's a fan thing. It's a storyline thing. Some people are taking it and making it into a, using the galaxy brain method of thinking that this is taking away. And listen, from a PR perspective, yeah, it is. I'm not going to lie to y'all. There's absolutely a possibility that the Vince McMahon lawsuit is being kind of thrown away in the news wire by doing this, but that doesn't mean it has a long-term gain. It's very short-term.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, everybody. I would not worry about what's happening on screen in wrestling superseding the Vince McMahon lawsuit. You can be upset at the WrestleMania main event and what it may or may not be, and that doesn't mean you are ignoring the lawsuit. I saw a lot of that, which I thought was very disingenuous. Of like, this is what everybody should be talking about. More people should be mad about this. Like, people are still mad about this, as far as I know. But just because you're focusing now on the WrestleMania main event, like, that's okay. It's okay to talk about something else. It'll be all right.
Yeah, it's a double shot. Like, one is a real life news story that is currently being discussed that is currently getting more and more coverage, as it should, especially in the mainstream. And the other one is a wrestling storyline that people are also invested in and are trying to kind of wrap their heads around whether or not it makes sense.
And let's be honest, it's a lot easier to discuss stupid wrestling nonsense like what we see on screen with The Rock and Cody and Roman Reigns than have a discussion about the Vince McMahon lawsuit, especially on Twitter. I'd much prefer if people talked about the WrestleMania stuff on Twitter than trying to give their opinion on the Vince stuff and then going back and forth on that, because so much is lost in that conversation. I hope that if you do have an outlet like we have, that you don't let the Vince stuff go and you continue to have that discussion. But if you're just on social media complaining about wrestling storylines, I'd much rather you do all of that and discuss what's happening on television than try to give nuance to something that on a platform and a medium where nuance is frowned upon.
We got some bits from Cyclops Better Than Logan over on. We still use it, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. It still exists, I swear. We still stream on there. People acting like just because people are mad about Cody, they can't be mad at Vince at the same time. It's a bad faith argument to make WWE and their fans look bad. They sadly don't care about the women. They just want to dunk on WWE. I mean, up to a point, yeah, I fully agree. It's just, yeah, it's two very categorically different things to be upset about that happen to be concurrent. And that's really the most frustrating part of it, is that we're taking what is effectively a storyline, and at the same time, we're also trying to wrap our heads around a real life investigation, a real life lawsuit, and everything's kind of getting wrapped up because in the wrestling world, unfortunately, we tend to think the show and not the reality. So, yeah, I don't know if you had anything to add before we bring on our guest.
No, I mean, we can get into it. Like we got a lot to talk about with this.
Yeah, let's bring him on right now. Very, very lucky, very happy, and welcoming from VICE News. He's been covering the Vince McMahon story along with lots of other stuff over on VICE. We're welcoming now Tim Marchman. Good morning.
Morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Jeremy, go ahead.
Thanks for joining us, and we appreciate it. Let's kind of, we're gonna jump around a little bit, but let's start with what your outlet and you specifically reported. Geez, it was Thursday at this point. It seems like everything is blown up, just with different stuff coming out. But John Laurinaitis coming out and claiming he is a victim, denying the allegations against him, and then claiming that he was part of being a victim of this. Was that expected? Like, what did you think when you heard this from Laurinaitis' attorney?
I was quite surprised. As I said in the article, I wasn't actually reaching out to his lawyer for anything other than to confirm that he was representing Laurinaitis, because to that point, I hadn't been able to nail down who the counsel for any of the parties on that side of this dispute were. So I had some information suggesting who was representing Vince McMahon, who was representing TKO on the corporate side, and who was representing Laurinaitis. So just wanted to reach out to them to establish some lines of communication. We expect to be doing ongoing reporting here. And so obviously that's a very important thing to do, is make sure you know who the lawyer is for somebody who has claims like this made against them. And reached out, and he just confirmed that. And then he said that as an aside, his client was a victim here too. So obviously we got that news out because it seemed very newsworthy, but as someone who's just been following this and is a follower of wrestling and understands, the power Laurinaitis has had for most of the past 20 plus years as head of talent relations, like the significance of it really struck me pretty immediately.
You mentioned, pro wrestling, and let's talk about pro wrestling media for a minute, because I think that there's a role to be played with the pro wrestling media compared to outlets like Wall Street Journal, Deadline, or Vice News. Do you think there's a role or an added benefit of pro wrestling media's coverage in a story like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God, that's a complicated question, but it's a good question. So I think, and this is me just kind of putting my pundit hat on a little bit, but I would tend to think that a lot of significant news in a story like this is going to break from outlets like the Wall Street Journal. And that's not because they're real reporters or anything like that. I have a sports background, so I really bristle at any idea like that. It's just a matter of connections and experience in certain kinds of stories. For instance, I don't want to make any guesses because those tend to turn out wrong about like what the journal's sourcing is on some of the stories they've been breaking. But obviously, being the Wall Street Journal, they're probably gonna have some long-standing connections with the Department of Justice or the FBI. That's not to say that the news about the sex trafficking investigation even came from that direction, but they're going to have the relationships where if they hear something about that, they'll be more easily able to look into it to confirm it. Other outlets are also going to have people with backgrounds in legal reporting, people experienced in talking to survivors of sexual violence, different things like that. So there are elements where reporters who have a lot of experience with a type of story are probably going to be able to move the ball ahead. But the wrestling media knows this and is, I think, in a position to make a lot of sense out of what's going on. Obviously, some members of the wrestling media are goofballs who go to, no offense to anyone, but go to press conferences, and when there's a hugely significant sex trafficking story, are going to ask Paul Levesque, like, how awesome is it to be so awesome as you are? And so that's part of the wrestling media. But there are also a lot of people who really are interested in asking hard questions and just have command of a vast amount of information. One of the things that really strikes me about this story that's a little bit unique is that wrestling has not only people who've been covering it for a long time who know a lot about the kind of underworld of this business and can tell the difference between real and fake, and with the ways in which the fake can be very real, and all that sort of hall of mirrors stuff that you get with pro wrestling, but also just know a lot of things that are probably taken for granted by a lot of wrestling fans. Like, there are so many podcasts and interviews where wrestlers or former wrestlers or people in the wrestling industry talk pretty openly about, what look like serious criminal allegations. And that's going to be a very difficult thing for anyone coming to this cold to even be able to get context for, to be able to get their heads around. Whereas people who've been covering wrestling who are familiar with all this are, just going to have some familiarity with that, or even with rumors that they've heard over the years, and being able to piece those together and say, like, here is something that's come up over the years, or here is something that really, seems to bear on a pattern of how women have been treated in WWE over the years, and the sort of, this seems like something where, it might be worth revisiting, or it seems like the sort of thing where maybe there are police reports or affidavits or different things attached to it, so we can get more verification for this information and start looking into it more. I think that could be really significant. Is that too vague? Is that too vague an answer? I can go in another direction with that if you were getting at something else.
No, I wasn't, because this is something that's been ongoing with other conversations in the sphere, and I'll ask you about something else in a minute. But this was like, this was where does pro wrestling media fit into this? And I think you've covered it pretty well, because wrestling is a weird world, as as a fan and as someone who's covering it now, and it is trying to find those nuances and trying to find where the reality is in a world where there's a lot of distorted reality.
Yeah, it's that, and also it's kind of helpful in a lot of ways that there is so much out there, because one of the tricks with reporting a story like this is not just the kind of mundane stuff I was talking about earlier, like do you have sources in this or that part of the government who might be able to help you out with a sort of thing, but you're dealing with very serious criminal allegations, and so you have to be very careful, because it's you don't want to end up defaming anybody or anything like that. If if your reporter doesn't have a background with that, it's understandable that you'd be very cautious. But at the same time, you have this wealth of information that's already out there. And sometimes something like this, a lot of it is like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Like a lot of the pieces are already on the table, I tend to think.
What's your temperature as far as where this case goes? Because it was reported on Friday morning that it's now a federal thing. Vince is under federal investigation. I don't know if you've heard Ann Callis, Janelle Grant's lawyer, say she's been kind of overwhelmed and swarmed with people who are willing to come forward. By what I'm feeling based on what Ann Callis is saying, doesn't sound like there's any willingness to settle, but we also know how that thing goes as the process moves along, and then the scrutiny comes and the money potentially gets upped. But now that it's, a federal case, what's your temperature on sort of where this case goes?
Well, it's difficult to make predictions, especially about the future, but I'd tease that apart into two things. So on the criminal side, this is, obviously exceptionally serious for WWE, because sex trafficking is at the federal level. It's a crime involving, commercial sex acts and forced fraud or coercion. It's a 3-part test. I'm not a lawyer, but what's in the complaint that Ms. Grant filed certainly seems to pass the test for triggering an investigation. We know from the journals reporting there is a sex trafficking investigation. So that's really problematic for WWE, because at that point, there's been reporting that they took Vince McMahon's phone, they imaged it, so they have like access to all his communication. There's a grand jury. Prosecutors can go any direction they want from there. They can go as far back into the past as they want. They have extraordinary latitude to get into other crimes. So, an investigation here wouldn't just be about Grant. It would be about wherever that leads to, really. If this, they're looking at the other NDAs. I think that's really bad for WWE. I think, there's been an ongoing investigation of some sort dating back to 2022. And there's so many aspects to the behavior alleged in the complaint from a criminal perspective. I would have to imagine, if there hasn't been an SEC investigation, there's at least a possibility of an SEC investigation to, things we've reported on a bit and that are known, involving where the money came from, the fact that McMahon didn't let WWE's lawyers in on these NDAs. They were drafted by his own lawyers. There was a revised earnings statement issued due to that. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I would have to think there's at least some potential for investigation there. And then if you start going back years, there are all the things we know about, like the, you're talking about serious felonies that don't have statutes of limitations on them in some cases. So you're absolutely looking at the possibility that, for instance, if prosecutors wanted to go back 30 years and look at the Ring Boy scandal, like they could do that. So that's all on the criminal side. It's basically, it lays open, everything about how WWE has conducted business, how Vince McMahon has treated people. And, that can just go. That could be years. They could file some charges tomorrow. It's really difficult to say. On the civil side, I don't know, but I certainly I'm also under the impression that Ann Callis is hearing from a lot of people, and there's a lot of stuff. Not all of it, this egregious necessarily. I think everyone who's aware of, kind of behind the scenes stuff in WWE is aware that there's a long history of allegations of, harassment, a discriminatory work environment, just a bad place to be. Are there people who maybe, weren't involved with anything like the allegations made in the suit, but who still might have, a case for lost earnings due to, harassment or turning down advances? Like, Maybe. Are there people who sign NDAs and now find that those NDAs are not valid and they want to revisit claims? That's certainly possible. I mean, we really have no idea. And one thing that really, there are a few things that strike me about all this, but I'll just throw out a couple. One is in the complaint. This hasn't gotten a lot of notice, but one of the 4 corporate officers is actually mentioned in the complaint. I don't have it in front of me, so I want to be clear. I'm just going off my recollection of it, but I believe that it's cited as upon information and belief, which is just a lawyer's way of saying we know this, but we're not going to say how we know it right now. One of the officers left the company under circumstances having to do with not wanting to be involved with having grants on the payroll. So is there a corporate officer out there who was fired over this in some way? That seems to be kind of intimated in the complaint. So you have things like that out there. You also have there's been so much talk about the NDAs that were signed, but there's also the possibility that there were lots of people who were subjected to inappropriate conduct or possible serious very grave misconduct who didn't sign NDAs. So there's just a nest there before even starting to get into whether what shareholders think about the way all this was handled and the way McMahon was brought back in, even though higher ups would have been familiar with the fact that he was a ticking time bomb. They even put it in SEC disclosures. So yeah, I think it's really very early in the process of all this playing out, because you're going to have Callis and you're going to have other lawyers identifying people with claims, and I don't think anyone really has a good guess how many of those there are. And you're going to have a federal investigation that, even just from what we know, has at least good reason to be investigating. And they have access to Vince McMahon's phone, and we've seen what he allegedly puts in his text messages. So if that is a pattern of him documenting this behavior that explicitly, then gosh.
You emphatically put down the mug. That's I wasn't sure if you were about to follow up with something there.
No. I'm just kind of trailing off into it. Yeah, it's. I mean, this is painfully obvious, but this is really big, and there's a lot of there's a lot of potential exposure here, I think, for a lot of people.
You mentioned the WWE press conferences and the questions that could ask there. Was there ever a time, especially given the Royal Rumble press conference that just happened, or the WrestleMania kickoff one that they're doing in Vegas this Thursday, was there ever talk at VICE about sending somebody to ask a question like that? Because I know it's typically not where y'all would be.
No. No, I mean, we just wouldn't prioritize that. Partly because you go and maybe you get one question and maybe you do or don't get it answered. I mean, I think the questions I have for WWE are mainly ones we'd probably put to their spokesperson, and that they'd want some sort of legal counsel to review. Obviously, if they would, put me in touch for a half-hour interview with Paul Levesque, or even ask him one question, I'd love to do that, and I'm sure we'll come to a point in the process where we'll want to do that, and we'll put in a request for that. But no, just going to ask one question at a press conference, that would be a pretty expensive question.
Valid. I ask because there are a lot of people who make references to that and say, why aren't there people like this in the room? And that's a great answer. It's a good perspective. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, step on a potential question, but there are going to be a lot of people at this press conference on Thursday. Apparently there will be an opportunity to ask Triple H a question. What question would you ask him, or do you think should be asked if media are going to be there and they view this as an opportunity of like, hey, we don't get a whole lot of time with Triple H. This is a chance, much like the Royal Rumble press conference. This is something that should be asked. We should not just be ignoring this.
There are a lot of questions that I can think of that could be asked. So as a tactical thing, despite his performance in the press, much scrutinized press conference last week, there's a highly savvy, media trained man who's been speaking extemporaneously on live television for decades. So if you're asking a question, I think it's probably a good idea to ask a yes or no question rather than one that can be pretty easily derailed into a statement about how great things are. And you also don't want to ask something that can be brushed away with I can't comment on that because he's a corporate officer of a defendant in a lawsuit, and he has every reason not to say anything. I mean, I wouldn't say anything. I've been, I've been an editor of stories where we've had people send us legal demand letters or have even filed lawsuit. Not here at Vice, but in the past. And the first, no matter how nonsensical the suit is, the first advice you get from your lawyer is don't talk about this, don't tweet about this, don't put anything in writing about this. If you have something to say, you should talk about it, ideally in person. And the reason for that isn't anything sketchy. It's that in the discovery process, anything you say about it can be brought in. It can be brought in as evidence. It can be misconstrued. It can take it out of context. It's wisest just to say nothing about it, and certainly nothing in public and not in front of a potential audience of millions of people. So the first question that comes to mind for me is actually just, would WWE be willing to release anyone who's signed to an NDA or confidentiality agreement from the terms of that? And if not, why not? That's a step that Julia Roginski from Lift Our Voices mentioned to me when I talked to her the other day. That's an organization that focuses on NDAs and other legal issues that tend to, that have to do with toxic workplace environments. So there's no real reason he couldn't answer that question. And if WWE has nothing to hide in any of those confidentiality agreements, it should be willing to let them out. He might not be the person who would ultimately make that decision. I don't think the chief creative officer would. I think that would be, probably Nick Khan or something, but it's something he can speak on. And if the answer to that isn't yes, that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that'd be interesting information to know. I think another kind of similar question might be, and it's not something I would necessarily think he'd know about off the top of his head, but in Connecticut right now, there is proposed legislation that would bar many types of non-disclosure agreements in the workplace. They're not all bad. Even people who are strong advocates for survivors and consider these very bad instruments generally will allow, if you work for Tesla, you shouldn't be able to quit and then the next day take the Tesla battery design over to Apple, right? Like that sort of thing shouldn't be there. But NDAs that are covering up claims of sexual abuse and harassment and things like that, there's more and more legislation being offered at the state level that would regulate those, in some case ban those. There is proposed legislation like that in Connecticut. So I would be curious if Levesque supports that legislation. Should these be banned? The legislation in Connecticut would potentially, by the way, invalidate NDAs retroactively. Like there is the potential for that to come in. So it's very much an ongoing issue. He's the corporate officer of a company that is a big player in Connecticut, and I'd just be interested in seeing what he had to say about that.
Little lighter fare. You mentioned Tesla. How ugly is the Cybertruck?
Oh my God. I've seen a million dystopian movies, read a million dystopian comic books, and fantasized about what I would ride around in the after times many times, and it never looked like that. Good grief. I
saw I saw your work on the Cybertruck and the ongoing conversation there. I had to ask you.
My last one, switching back quickly to the WWE stuff, is just the resources dedicated to this lawsuit from particularly Vice, because I know David Bixenspan has done work with Vice, and you guys, I know it's Vice TV, but it's, you know, they do Dark Side of the Ring and everything. Like how much resource is going into continuing to cover this to make sure like it really doesn't go away? Because we were talking before you came on air, like, you know, everybody is up in arms about the WrestleMania main event, and people are like, oh, well, we're losing sight of the real issue here. And I think a lot of people are worried that that's going to happen.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm not going to talk about what specifically we're doing behind the scenes, but like we're very committed to this. The Wall Street Journal is clearly very committed to this. And just like to give, I don't want to insult anybody, but I do know that wrestling fans can tend to be a little bit in the wrestling bubble. And like,
yeah, they suck. We insult them all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know, the perspective can get a little distorted. This is the chairman of the board until last week of a $20 billion company in business with Ari Emanuel and Endeavor, someone who's been a globally famous celebrity for decades, is the subject of an FBI sex trafficking investigation. Like wrestling booking decisions have absolutely nothing to do with how the story is going to play out. How much attention is going to be paid to it, it's way beyond that point. Like the idea that the idea that Dwayne Johnson going into the WrestleMania main event, winning the WrestleMania main event, going in the ring and doing some sort of scathing promo about Paul Levesque's career of backstage maneuvering or like anything like that is so far removed from the reality of what's going on here. I mean, this is just a very big, very complicated, very lurid story that's, I don't see any way it doesn't get significantly messier. Like here I will again throw out this is just an observation you can draw from the complaint. Two observations you can draw from the complaint. One is Vince McMahon was 75 at the time this behavior is alleged, like in his mid 70s, getting into his late 70s, because it covered a few years. Obviously, you don't start doing the sorts of things he's alleged to have done here in your 70s. So, you know, unless this is whole cloth fabrication, which there's absolutely no reason to think it is, you know, there is substantial reason, at least, to believe that there's a pattern of this behavior. Part of the pattern of behavior is that he, in at least one instance we're aware of, thought it was appropriate as part of contract negotiations to offer a woman to someone he was negotiating with, right? Like that is what is alleged in the complaint, is that he wanted to throw in a human being, Janelle Grant, as a sweetener to the former UFC champion with whom he was negotiating, who, you know, is pretty much confirmed to be Brock Lesnar. There's no one else it could be. So one of the natural questions that arises out of that is, was this a pattern in his negotiating over the years? You know, offering women who were being paid by WWE to talent, to, you know, whoever he was negotiating with. That's a, you know, it might well be this was a one-off. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but it's a reasonable question to ask. Sure, it's a reasonable question to ask. And I think if you follow that up, then, you know, you're looking at a wide universe of really well-known people with whom he's done like high-level negotiations over the years, right? So I just put that out there, not to like darkly hint at anything, but just to stress like the scope of this. This could involve like a lot of people. This could involve a lot of really well-known people, both between the inherently very serious nature of the crimes alleged here and the fact that there are, you know, very well-known people, very well-known, very powerful people who have been in, you know, the upper orbit of WWE and have done business with Vince McMahon over the years. It's just not something that anyone's going to drop. Like in a story like this, it can stretch on years. And if you look at things like the Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein stories, which I think are appropriate comparisons, and I can unpack that a little bit if you want to, those go on for a long time. You're talking about civil trials, you're talking about criminal trials, you're talking about people coming forward to the press, you're talking about the the press digging up old allegations and getting new information about them. Like, you know, does that mean that every day from here to the end of time is going to be dominated by new revelations about Vince McMahon and how he does business and WWE and who knew what when? And no, it doesn't mean that. I mean, you could go weeks, you could go months, and then something new could come out. So I think any idea that you know, WWE is going to be able to Jedi mind trick their way out of this is just, I mean, it's just not looking at reality. Like there's no way. Even if, you know, even if the Grant lawsuit was settled, you'd still have who knows how many people with claims, probably ranging from the pretty frivolous to the extremely serious, who would be motivated. You have other lawyers out there who would be motivated to take cases on contingency. And you have the federal government there, which, you know, has a lot to look into, and it has all the resources in the world to do it. That's one very obvious thing, by the way, I want to just point out, because I know a lot of people, you know, they don't necessarily pay attention to these distinctions, and that's fine. But when you're looking at a local law enforcement agency, they're going to have fairly limited resources, even a really big one, unless you're talking about like the NYPD, just in terms of time. Like if you're looking at, you know, because I do this in the course of my reporting, you talk to, say, a sheriff in suburban Kansas City about an ongoing investigation they have, and they will say very straightforwardly, right? Like, or, you know, you talk to a prosecutor, they'll say, like, I have 3 full-time investigators and I have a travel budget of X, and I have to, you know, I have murder cases, I have all these things I have to look into. I have to be very sparing about where I put my resources. Like, I have a lead that the murderer was seen in, you know, North Dakota. Do I send someone out there to look into that? That costs, you know, 5% of my annual budget. What are the odds I'm going to get something out of that? This case is not like that at all. The federal government, for the purposes of this investigation, has functionally unlimited resources. They can send as many people to go talk to as many people as they want. It's not really an issue. They can, you know, if they want, they can sit a couple of people down and tell them to read the entire back catalog of the Wrestling Observer and pull out everything that they think bears looking into. I doubt they're actually doing that, but like they can. This, you know, would be a very complicated process if there's actually a prosecution brought. I'm sure there would be a very vigorous defense, but it's, you know, it's not like a TV show where there's like one dogged investigator trying to pull it all together by himself. I mean, this is a big deal.
Sorry, I had myself muted for a second. Tim, I do want to thank you for your time this morning. You've been very generous with us. I want to give you a chance just to plug what you're working on and what's coming up with VICE.
What I'm working on, I can't really talk about it, but it's all very exciting. So continue to check the site out.
We're trying to get our scoops here now.
Yeah, I will say, like, we're you know, we're definitely continuing to look into this. I know, you know, competitors of ours are definitely continuing to look into this. I know the you know, the wrestling media is going to continue to look into this, and I know, you know, I've heard a lot of different things from different people since we started publishing a couple of stories about this, all of it very helpful, but fans have been very helpful. I've been getting like emails and direct messages from people who are just like, hey, I don't know if you know about this story, but like, you know, this happened 8 years ago, and I thought it was always I always thought it was kind of weird. So maybe you want to look into it. Like, and I would encourage everybody, you know, who's listening to this, just a fan, is like, if you see a reporter whose work you like, or you know, someone who's covering this, and they seem legit, by all means, reach out to them. There are, you know, it doesn't have to be me. There are people, plenty of outlets who are covering this stuff, and I'm sure they want to know about that. It's really helpful to know, because no one's brain can keep all this stuff, you know, in there at one time. It's just too much. So it's great to be hearing about all that stuff, and you know, I think there's a lot there that is worth discussing and examining, and you know, yeah, it's a big mess, and you know, my hope is just that people find justice, no matter what that be, and that goes for everyone. That goes for you know, survivors of misconduct. That goes for the accused. I don't want anybody who's been falsely accused to be not to be vindicated. Let's just get the truth out and see where the chips fall.
Tim, we appreciate you joining us today. Again, thank you for your time. Very gracious with your time. I know you said you thought you might and just like can't talk about that, but I don't know if you can see our chat, but a lot of great comments of an informative conversation to have. So I appreciate you again joining us and discussing this and keeping fans up to date on this.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
I'm sorry you listen to Sean Ross Sapp on your runs as well.
Yeah, it's his fault. No, it's fan of Fightful. So thanks very much for having me, and let me know if I can do anything for you.
Thank you, so Tim. Much. I'm sure we'll be in contact. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Take care. Tim Marchman from VICE. Very, very informative conversation. Very interesting conversation. Again, chat, thank you so much for indulging us and for being a part of this conversation. This is something that, again, we said at the top when this all broke, we said we're not going to stop talking about it. And as we continue to get more and more information about this Vince McMahon lawsuit and investigation, we are going to keep talking about it because it is something that's worth talking about. We're still going to talk about the other stuff in wrestling because we are still talking about the entertainment side, the wrestling, the storyline stuff, but there is very much still a place for these conversations, and we like to make them here. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Again, appreciate Tim. I reached out to him on Friday, maybe it was even Thursday. That was Friday. I think it was after our show on Friday, to see if he could come on and everything. And he was, as I mentioned, kind of at the end, he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna have much to say. And then, we just did 35 minutes with Tim, and I think he had plenty to say. And I saw a lot of comments in the chat of, saying it was very informative and a very educating conversation. And I told him I thought it would be, like, even if he didn't think he would have much, I thought he would have a lot of insight that I certainly don't have. And I don't want to speak for Joel, but I don't know how much Joel is, really digging into these things. Like certainly Tim is getting the things like the John Laurinaitis, his lawyer saying John Laurinaitis is a victim, and the other article that came out with the NDAs on Friday. So yeah, hopefully people got a lot of information out of that, some education. And like Joel said, we're not going to ignore this. If we go a show without talking about it, it probably just means there's not anything new, and we're not going to rehash the same conversation we've had. But as new information comes out, we will continue to talk about it. We will continue to have guests on that are maybe closer to the situation than certainly myself and Joel when it comes to coverage. I said it on Friday. Somebody asked, like, would you get Ann Callis on? I've messaged Ann Callis. They're very swamped. I've not heard anything back. I'll message anybody. If you think there's somebody of, hey, I think this person would be very informative to talk to, let me know. I got no problem reaching out to people. The worst thing they can say is no. The worst thing that they can do is ignore me, and fine. We move on. We continue to do our show, but I'm not going to not message people just because, like, I don't really feel like talking about this. Let's talk about the latest WWE SmackDown. Like, we're going to continue to talk about it, and we're going to continue to make sure our fan base is informed about it. And just because we don't talk about it for a day or for an hour, because we're about to move on, we're about to talk a lot about SmackDown, doesn't mean we are going to ignore this story, because it's not a story worth ignoring. And like Tim said, I hope that people got, if nothing else, I hope you got a lot from it, but if nothing else, please realize what we said as well. This ain't going away. Just because we're talking about wrestling storylines and things like that, the federal government doesn't care about that. Other outlets like a Wall Street Journal, they don't care about the wrestling storyline stuff. They're out there, they're focusing on this story. We're a wrestling outlet, so we're going to talk obviously a lot about wrestling, but this is a wrestling story, and we're going to talk about this as well.
Yeah, not much more to add. I can just say that from my perspective, when Tim said, he didn't want to hum and haw around a lot of questions, my framing of things really did want to be around, how is pro wrestling media like us? How are we involved? Right. And that's something that continues to come up, is why aren't we asking these questions, or why aren't we in these rooms? And I think Tim kind of touched on these things very eloquently, and same thing with the press conference questions. It's a different it's a different scenario for them. It's a different situation. It's a different allocation. Jeremy and I talk about it all the time. There's no money in this pro wrestling game. A lot of us we're not, we're fan funded, we're fan supported. These bigger outlets have budgets, and therefore those budgets need to be managed. And when they're managed, the money isn't necessarily spent on, a flight to Vegas to maybe ask a question. They want to deal in absolutes. In this case, an absolute conversation or an absolute comment from a spokesperson on the record, so on and so forth. And I think those are the insights that I hope that our audience gets and walks away with when we continue to ask questions like this and get people understanding, like, that we have a place here in this conversation, but our conversation is not the same as one coming out of Wall Street Journal, Vice News, Deadline, so on and so forth, Variety. There are a lot of different conversations and a lot of different perspectives that are given.
And I hope that, look, we got friends going to this press conference on Thursday. I hope they listened to this interview and they heard what Tim said. And if they do get an opportunity to ask Triple H a question, maybe they don't ask about WrestleMania and the booking, and they do use that opportunity to ask about this, because I do think they are much like the Royal Rumble press conference. It should not be ignored. It shouldn't. Like, if you got the opportunity, like, maybe ask the question about that. And, the Triple H might have his answer, Roman Reigns, Rock, they might have their no comment answer, just want to focus on WrestleMania. Fine. Still, if you got the opportunity to do it, like, maybe use it instead of, hey, is Cody going to be in the main event? Like, maybe talk about something that does matter more than what we see on our television screen. Because I promise you, somebody there will ask about the WrestleMania 40 main event. You're not hurting for that question. I do think people are more hurting for asking a question about this. So, maybe if you do have that opportunity, use that, because you might not have that opportunity again. You don't know if people are going to ask that. I promise you, somebody will ask about the WrestleMania 40 main event, and they will ask about Cody and things like that.
Yeah. Again, it's how you cover it's how you cover your event and your intent. It's just how you cover the event. Sorry, I'm out of words right now, but
I want to touch on this from Dave, asking if we talked about the Max Caster rap. We haven't. I saw it. I will just say that it was tone deaf. It was stupid, and he has a history of this. And Max Caster should just be better when it comes to this shocking rap stuff. I like Max Caster. I've liked, a lot of his lines in the past and stuff. I thought they were witty. This was not witty. This was not something to joke about or anything like that. It wasn't even a good line. Like, it wasn't even good.
It was a house show line. A house show that happened to have been taped live on YouTube.
Yeah, it was an Alpha One show. Like, just don't even do it. You don't gain anything from it. Nothing good came of it. You just look stupid. And I thought he looked stupid. Yeah, it wasn't clever. Like, it wasn't even a good bar. Like, I don't want to say I'll forgive a joke. I'll forgive a rap lyric if it's like you know what? That was actually really good. But, like, this wasn't even good. So that makes it worse.
His my hope is that somebody in the back, possibly the person running Alpha One, said, no, not the place. Don't do that again. And that was that. There is accountability that needs to be there, but unfortunately, that hasn't really ever been a part of Max's response to these lines.
It would have been nice if, after he made the Duke Lacrosse joke line, he got suspended for that. This was 2-3 years ago at this point. You would have hoped he would have learned a lesson from that and matured from that. And clearly he didn't. And he wanted to just go for shock, and really just shock. That's the only way I can explain it, is like, oh, let me hit a Vince McMahon line here. And then it turned into, it was tone deaf. It wasn't shocking. It wasn't in a bad way, I guess, but it was tone deaf, and it's not a good look. Like, have respect for victims in cases like this.
And I don't think our chat needs to hear this, but I think anyone else who happens to pull this, at one point and listen to it, yeah, his father, Max Caster's father, unfortunately did pass away over the weekend, and we send our condolences to the Caster family. We do. It's not an excuse to use that line, though. You can't use his dad died. Well, unfortunately,
if anything, he should have probably just maybe not gone out there and performed. Like,
and that's up to him. That's entirely up to him. My point
Yeah.
is, you cannot go out there and just be like, oh, but his dad died, so he can get away with it. Well, no, that's not how this works. The two things can be true at once. It was wrong of him to say those things, and it also is unfortunate and very sad that his dad passed away. He decided to work. There have been plenty of people who say, this is my outlet. This is a way for me to take my mind off of it. That's understandable. I get it. At that point, you just have to kind of think about what you're doing and what you're saying out there.
Yeah, no, condolences to Max losing his father, but that certainly doesn't excuse that line. Like, you still don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, or if we're going to move on.
We can move on, and we can talk about old SmackDown. What a show that we had with SmackDown, Joel.
Listen, the big takeaway from SmackDown is that soon enough there will be an interaction between Tiffany Stratton and Pretty Deadly, and I will be here for it, and I will be waiting for it, and I will be absolutely ecstatic when I get to see those three on stage, just living together, just loving together, just laughing together. You see what I did there?
Exactly. No pop.
Damn it! I knew it was coming. I saw I saw it coming. King Ray sent a super chat saying, I hate that I'm so invested in this stupid product, and this whole Cody mess made me sad all weekend. I've also lost a lot of respect, or lost all respect, for Dwayne The Rock Johnson. All right, so the big news obviously coming out of Friday night was Cody wins the Rumble. Cody steps aside. Cody doesn't finish the story, or at least not at WrestleMania. Instead, The Rock's going to finish the story for him. Or is he? There's a lot of moving parts going on in this conversation, but as of Friday, up until today, Monday, as of 11 a.m. Eastern, the story, not the match, it's not official. The story seems to be Roman versus Rock, and Cody potentially taking on Seth Rollins. That's not official, but you can assume if one's going for one title, then the other would be going for the other. Heck of a way to get there, and I will preface it with this. I understand the annoyance. Are you popping because that's what they thought.
What?
No, I saw you giggle. I thought you were looking at the chat saying no pop and just laughing at you.
No, I'm giggling because I find this whole thing very stupid and hilarious.
You did. And so I saw you had your jokes, and we're going to do it. It's fine.
I got Cody fans. So Steven Jensen is threatening to block me. Gunner, shout out to Gunner. He's threatening.
Mathis.
Yeah, Gunner Mathis. He's threatening to block me. He's messaging Jensen of like, your boy Jeremy's pissing me off. Sorry to, peel back the curtain really bad. But I got Cody group chats freaking out over my tweets. Cody Cope Council is very mad at me.
Cody Cope Council. Oh my goodness. Man. My feeling on Friday was we got here very poorly. And that seems to be the general consensus from those who are talking about this, who are talking about this from a storyline perspective. This makes this we got here with no sense behind it. And that's the crux of the issue for many. It's that this just kind of happened, and there's been no sense made of it. Now they have a month to get there. We do have a month until WrestleMania, almost 2 months. This is a long time away to hopefully make sense of something, or change it around, or make it change again. You made jokes of it, but what were your thoughts in the moment as you were laughing through it? Were you laughing to cope? Be honest, Jeremy Lambert. Were you just laughing to cope?
The ITW Anonymous general manager will confirm I cackled the entire time. cackled. I thought it was hilarious. Hilarious when Cody comes out and he's like, I want that out. First off, Roman's promo, never take the title off this man. This man should hold the title the entire time. Burying Seth, the exactly no pop line. Oh, I mean, I've turned it into a drop now, but like I was dying at that line. The whole, Roman, I make 10 times more. I work 10 times less. He wishes he had Roman Reigns money. Just burying Seth, his little brother. So good. So good. Then Cody comes out and he's like, I want that title. You beat me. I don't just want that title. I want everything. You say this is your ring and your camera. I want all of that. And I'm going to take it, but not at WrestleMania. Once he hit that not at WrestleMania line, lost it. Absolutely lost it. Dying because I knew he was going to go, here's old Dwayne. And here comes Rock. He comes out there. He pulls him in, does the big hug. Cody looks like he's about to cry. And then Cody just has to deal with whatever Rock told him. Rock told him $7, bitch. And then Cody had to get his ass out of the ring. And then they did the big stare down, and the crowd was like, yeah, we kind of like it. We're not really sure. Loved all of it. You know this, Joel. You know this. I'm not attached to any of this stuff. I don't got big time favorites. I like Bryan Danielson, but I'm not attached to any of this. I root for the dumbest possible outcome ever because whatever makes me laugh is what I'm here for. And boy, did this make me laugh. I laughed all through Friday night. I was laughing all day Saturday. I was coming up with edits. I was coming up with troll jokes, everything. Oh, this was the best possible outcome for me. Yes.
From the anonymous ITW general manager. Quotes. There are 4 messages. Quotes. Listen, that man was cackling for 30 plus minutes. Number 2, from the time Roman said, exactly, no pop, he was gone. Number 3, and then it led directly into the Cody bullshit. He literally couldn't stop laughing. Number 4, the not at WrestleMania line, we were done, LMAO.
All hilarious to me. All hilarious. All I want is this funny stuff. By the way, I completely sympathize. I know Kim Gray, who we appreciate all her support and everything. She messaged on Twitter, like, is it okay to be upset? Like, I know a lot of people are legit, like Steven Jensen, who I do a show with once a week. I know he's very angry about this. I sympathize with all the Cody fans. I truly, truly do. Real take on this was stupid. Cody looked like an idiot. Absolute.
But see, Cody, he's an idiot.
Factual. Cody was an idiot out of this. This was dumb of him winning the Rumble and then being like, I'm going to take all this, but not at WrestleMania, and introducing The Rock. He looks so stupid here. They had a full chance to make Cody, because they didn't do it last year, and they lucked out that Cody stayed this over when they didn't do it last year. And then they're seemingly, we'll see what happens, but to do this, it was dumb as can be. If I was a Cody fan, I would be completely upset by this. I totally get that. Totally get it. As a person who just likes chaos, I thought it was hilarious. And I will continue to think it's hilarious. And if they pivot back and they get Cody in a triple threat, or they do a Roman night 1, night 2 type of thing, whatever it might be, great. I truly, truly hope, mainly for Steven Jensen, who's gone through a year of this nonsense, I hope Cody gets his moment at WrestleMania. I thought that would have been the time to make Cody. But for right now, they're going with this, and I'm going to cackle the entire time.
I get it. I feel Jensen's pain. I do. I immediately tweeted a photo of someone throwing a TV off the wall and said, live look at Steven Jensen's apartment. I know Thursday's episode of the Spotlight here on the main channel is going to be a 3-hour conversation about Cody Rhodes and Steven Jensen's feelings.
I I gotta be nice to Steven Jensen.
You do, especially because
Yeah.
things are going to be even. The fever pitch will be hit by then because the kickoff event at the T-Mobile Arena will be that afternoon, and he's going to be thinking about that. Well, maybe not thinking about it actively, but it's going to be in the back of his head. A lot of the conversation has been like, I think I was talking to our pal Drew Nicholas, who moderates the AEW Dynamite post show here on the channel, and he basically said, how do we get out of this? And I was like, they do the presser on Thursday, and they say Rock is like, well, I didn't have enough time to say anything because we went off the air, LOL. But what I wanted to say was, Cody, I can't let you not have the match. I'm going to be there to pick up the pieces when you beat Roman Reigns, and then I'm going to beat Roman Reigns' ass if you smell la 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 what the Rock is cooking. And then we're all going to be like, oh, so this is just a week of testing the waters for how much we viscerally hate it.
Cody's on Raw tonight. He's facing Shinsuke in a bull rope match because that feud must continue.
Well, because they haven't run the TV finish to that feud. They ran the match.
They did the street fight.
No, but they didn't do the bull rope match. Remember, we talked about the bull rope match being a thing?
You talked about a cage match.
But then we talked about the bull rope match because they ran that during the house show loop around Christmas time. That was the MSG show. So now they got to run that
fight. Cody has beat this man about 15 times.
Got to beat him again.
No one possibly care about Shinsuke Nakamura right now. Cody's gonna beat him again. It's just not gonna talk. Is Cody just not gonna speak about this? Gonna come out on Raw tonight, whoa, and then do the bull rope match, and then he's just not gonna talk about any of this? What are we doing?
You got to do something. I know you can't just go into this match.
Is Seth? Where's Seth? Seth got to come out. All these dudes are bitches, little bitches. Seth has got to come out in his wife's clothes and address Roman Reigns. He's got to come out and respond to this. Cody's got to come out and respond to this. He's going to come out and do a match. Seth is just not going to come out at all. They're going to look like little bitches on this. Little edges out here.
Follow-up message from the ITW general manager. I messaged Steven Jensen right after the Rumble, and I said, I hope he was happy and enjoying the moment, but I had no faith they wouldn't do something very dumb. And well, let's get a couple super chats here. By the way, you can donate any amount, get your question or statement around the air. Let's start here. There, let's get your thumbs up while you're doing it. I'm here for Roman stack pinning Cody and Rock. Listen, Roman couldn't stack the other three competitors at the Rumble. So what are we going to do this time when he's facing the adversarial Cody and the muscle man Rock? What are we doing? Ali Khan saying, Cody winning the Rumble and screaming "you" at Roman is hilarious now. Cody could have taken everything from Roman by beating Roman himself.
He said he would, just not at WrestleMania, everybody. By the way, the cope of people remember when we talked about
going to Madison Square Garden, Jeremy. We're going to MSG and we're going to finish the story there 3 weeks before on a show that hasn't been announced yet. We're going to do it. We're going to go to the Allstate Arena in Chicago. CM Punk's going to come back. He's going to win it, and then he's going to give it to Cody and be like, "You deserve this." That's happening. It's going to happen. I swear to God, it's going to happen, Jeremy. It's happening.
The talk of, they can do this was before this all happened, but they can do Rock and Roman in Australia. They can do it at Elimination Chamber. Oh, maybe Saudi. This is always going to be WrestleMania. Always. Listen to what The Rock has to say, everybody. The Rock was always saying WrestleMania. Now they're like, oh, Cody, they can do Cody and Roman at Elimination Chamber. They can do that in Australia. You're going to do Cody's big title win at 5 a.m. in Australia? He's got an American flag tattooed on the side of his neck. You're going to give him that title in Australia? What are we doing here? You're not having Roman lose either. And this is why I don't understand Cody and Roman night 1 and then Cody and Rock night 2. You got to flip that, reverse it. You're from like you can do Cody and Roman night 2. You can do Rock and Roman night 1. Roman beats Rock night 1. Get him out of here. Go make another terrible movie. Not Fast and Furious, greatest film franchise of all time.
Thank you.
And then do Cody and Roman night 2. And Cody can win there night 2. But you're not having Roman lose before he gets to that night 2 WrestleMania main event. That's dumb. That's very stupid.
Let's get another super chat in here. Jay Miller, because I know you were just talking about events and changes and things. Jay Miller says, my theory is that the swerve is due to the loss of star power for an elimination chamber. There's
what? No. What?
Okay, no. No. The idea of needing a little more extra for elimination chamber because you lost CM Punk, who you announced was going to be at the show. I wouldn't go this far as to say this was the reason for it, but I would go so far as to say they needed to kind of ask a favor of at least Roman Reigns in the meantime. They have Roman Cody there, which I don't think they're going to do. I'm just dissecting this. They have Roman Cody there. I don't think that's what they do. And they make Mania 40 non-title Cody defends at WrestleMania. Against Seth Rollins. Like that's the one thing about this is that I agree with the idea that Elimination Chamber, some of the stuff had to change because you lost Brock for very good reason. You lost CM Punk due to injury. You do have to beef up some of this card with some star power. Yes, they sold a lot of tickets, but you want to keep those people wanting to sit in those seats. Do I think that everything after that sentence is why or how they get there? I do not. Go ahead, say your piece.
My piece is, if you are a Cody fan, you should not want Roman and Cody at Elimination Chamber. Because let me tell you how that one ends. Australia acknowledges the tribal chief. Roman ain't losing before WrestleMania. It's not happening. It's not happening. If they do Cody and Roman at Elimination Chamber, Roman's winning that match. That man ain't losing before night 2 of WrestleMania. It would be foolish to waste his first big loss a month before WrestleMania, a night before WrestleMania. It's not happening.
I agree. And I do agree. Again, this is Chi-Town's person. You're not finishing the story at 4 a.m.
I mean, Jay-Z wrote a really good album at 3 a.m. So
yeah, but they didn't release it at 3 a.m.
Yeah, but I mean, it was written, at least. It was finished, theoretically finished at 3 a.m.
No, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Music and Moonsaults, our pal Chris says, if they want to do the Rock match, that's fine.
Actually, it's 440. Wasn't that the name of the album? Sorry, 440? That was the name of that Jay-Z album. That's when he wrote it. 3
a.m. by Matchbox 20. Is that what we're talking about?
Must be
4 a.m. by Our Lady Peace.
Jay-Z, by the way, great speech last night at the Grammys.
Yes, acknowledge my wife. Don't have Cody win the Rumble if there's a chance you do the Rock match. That's true. And that's, again, so a lot of reporting from Dave Meltzer was that the deal with The Rock was set on day 1 or day 3, really, where he would join the TKO board, get his name back, and do the WrestleMania match. If that's true, and if that's accurate, then why did you have Cody win the Rumble? Why did you have Cody up until this point? Like, what happened? And you can say it was the Vince McMahon stuff, but like it's not, because Rock joined the board before this all went down. And if the WrestleMania match was then on the table because he got the name, he got the board position, and the WrestleMania main event was part of the negotiation and the agreement, then that was already in place well before everything with Vince. Again, this is not we don't know if this is 100% accurate. This is the reporting from Dave Meltzer, is that's how it kind of came through, was those 3 things fell into place at the beginning of January to get us to this point. So like Chris is saying, yeah, well, don't have Cody win the Rumble if there's a chance you do the Rock match.
Yeah, it was dumb to have Cody win the Rumble and then do the point to Roman if you knew the Rock was the plan. You should have had, I guess, Punk win, but then he got hurt, so that would have been off. Then have Gunther win, because at least he was stepping to Seth the week before, the Monday before the Rumble. Like, at least there was that. But Cody winning and then the plan for the Rock. So do we think, I've seen people say this, and we've seen people make this comparison, the Yes movement, right? WrestleMania 30, where they were going Orton and Batista, and then Bryan was way too over that they could not ignore it. And then, of course, they're trying to act like this was the plan all along, even though Bryan Danielson, the GOAT, came out and said, like, no, this was never the plan. I was just going to do whatever at WrestleMania. Do we think that, like, they are trying to recreate this, or they're going to recreate this, whether it's by it's by plan or it's just clearly the crowd support is on Cody's side based on this whole weekend. We see the crowd support is on Cody's side. So are they trying to recreate this? Can they recreate this? I don't know if The Rock wants to be in that position, though. Like, why would The Rock agree, like, hey, come in here, and then you just kind of, you look stupid. You get the crowd against you. Rock wants to be liked, man. Rock doesn't want to be Batista. I mean, he wants to be Batista, a good actor. But, like, he doesn't want to be 2014 Batista getting booed on his big comeback.
It's funny because the story is so categorically different. The Bryan versus Cody thing. Cody has been pushed on WWE and the fans as the guy. He's been pushed as you want him. You want him to be the guy. You want him to win. You want him to do all of these things that he says he's going to do and often does. You can't suddenly tell me that this is the Daniel Bryan story from 10 years ago, because it's a categorically different story. Bryan was someone that fans loved, but, quote, the authority or the people in charge, quote unquote, didn't. And he won over the crowd. This is, the crowd loves him. They love him backstage. He's completely, like, he's universally liked. And that's why I don't really love this comparison, is that it doesn't make sense to me. Other than guy who's over gets thrown into a triple threat because the fans did it. Well, stop letting the fans do it. The fans already did what they wanted, and that was getting a Roman versus Cody one-on-one match. I think it waters everything down if you make it a triple threat, and I think they know that. I think they understand that backstage as well. I think they understand that Rock came in thinking that this was going to be huge business. And here's the thing, from a business standpoint, yes, it is huge business. There will be many, 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 many more people talking about this around the water cooler on Monday morning and maybe watching it on Peacock than there would be with Cody. I get that. But from a fan service perspective, from a long-term perspective, this is bad. This is not good. And again, I said it again at the beginning, this would have been fine if they didn't introduce it the way that they did on Friday. If they didn't have Cody come out and basically say, LOL, I'm out. Here's my buddy, The Rock. And they do the Carl Weathers, respect handshake. And then he walks off.
Carl Weathers.
Was it Carl? No, who was it? It was Dolph Lundgren. Was it Carl Weathers?
Put some respect on RIP Carl Weathers.
I know, but wasn't it Carl Weathers who did the infamous?
Yeah, you said Withers.
Did I say? Sorry, I misspoke. It's the Canadian in me. Weathers, Carl Weathers, and and it was Dolph Lundgren, right?
I think so.
Was it two of them?
Yeah.
Anyway, point is they did that, and then Cody walked away. That is the crux of the issue, is how they got here, which is not well at all. And so that's why I think this is categorically different from the Daniel Bryan story from 10 years ago.
They tried to make a nice stew and it didn't work. Didn't work. That's Carl Weathers reference for everybody. Arrested Development.
Yep, thank you.
I'm pulling it all back around here.
Show some love.
No, it was dumb the way they tried to do it. And now if they are going to go with a triple threat match, I think that's stupid as well, because you have two big singles matches. Why are you going to undercut them to do a triple threat match? It would have been better if they did Cody and Roman, and Cody introduced The Rock as like basically his enforcer, right? Like, because you got Solo, who you know is going to interfere with his hoodie, acting like we don't know it's him. You know, Jimmy is going to try to interfere. Jacob Fatu is reportedly a free agent.
This time it's going to be, here comes Solo in his hoodie. And then he takes off the hoodie, be like, wait a minute, that's not Solo. That's another brother. And everyone's going to be like, how many do they have?
They got a bunch. So having The Rock out there as like an insurance policy would make some sense. And people would like The Rock at that point. people will be like, oh, okay, cool. Rock's going to be out here to like protect and help just in case, because we've seen for 3 years now, including last year at WrestleMania, bloodline interference after bloodline interference. That would have been fine. And then you can set up Rock and Roman next year, as we thought was going to happen. We thought Rock and Roman was going to happen next year until Rock decided to come in and be like, nope, I'm here this year. Hello, Sean.
Sean's here to finish the story.
Yeah, it's a long way to the top if you want to run.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
This is what I have to
she
deal
did.
with.
She did.
Yes.
I've interviewed her numerous times. She helped cut my hair. Close personal friend of the show.
How are you,
There
Sean?
were several of Cody's friends that did like my Pharaoh tweets. I was very happy about that. Got some clout there.
Did Cody's friends like my tweets?
I've never heard anybody even remotely close to Cody mention your name in any capacity.
That's not true. You know that's not true. Hold on. I can message you. I don't want to put this out there.
Put it in the private chat, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
They probably not mention my
Why'd you
name.
all ban King Potate, by the way? King Potate.
I personally didn't.
Yeah, we like him.
Yeah,
He's
I
very
did. I
nice.
literally just texted you that. I like him.
I mean, I'll see. YouTube makes it very difficult to unban people.
Yeah, you got to go in through the banned area and they got to find them and then exit out.
Yeah.
And then if you got enough people, it takes a while. And we sure
yeah,
should.
and we got a lot. We got a lot. Probably, honestly, Zach Schimmel probably was quick on the trigger at some point.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, if it was from today, I banned one person who said a stupid thing about the Vince lawsuit, and that was that.
I don't even know how to unban people on here. Let's see. Let's go to private chat.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true, but that was one that I sent to them.
Yeah, I know. Oh, they nobody knows who I am. They all just assume it's you anyway.
Not true. Ricky Morton knows you.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Does
like
he
me.
ever?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you there are definitely several wrestlers that know you.
That's not good. That's not good at all. I don't want
I'm
to be
trying my
known.
best not to be known by these wrestlers. It's great.
Yeah, I don't want
Me
anybody
too
to-
anymore, pal.
Yeah.
You're in the business now, though. You know, you're a wrestler yourself. You're one of the boys.
Not quite. Not quite. I do have a wrestling match at the end of April, though.
Paulcade.
Jeffersonville, Indiana at Paulcade. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Please
I
donate
was
to the
thinking-
Humane Society of Washington. Thanks for cutting off my charity plug, Jeremy. Do you hate charity? Do you hate animals? What's wrong with you?
I donated $30 to NAMI.
I appreciate that.
Well, it was. I mean, it was through somebody won our Rumble pool. And
I'll take
they
it.
instead of sending a gift, they asked us to donate to charity. And
That's
we
cool.
picked NAMI to donate to.
Love
Yeah,
that.
we always love that. We appreciate that.
Now, how in the hell do I even find people that are blocked on this? This is the content that you guys need. SRS figures out how to run his YouTube channel that has over 100,000 subscribers because I don't think I've ever unbanned anybody. Damn, how is Cresta a managing moderator and everybody else is a standard moderator?
That's awful. Take that off. Get rid of that right now.
Pretty funny, honestly. Definitely. Listen, definitely a few people that I needed to remove from here as moderators.
Whoa.
Definitely a few people that haven't been with us for a while. Not like anything terrible like that has ever happened to Fightful, where somebody had access to our tweet deck a year after they were gone
No.
and tweeted some things that I get blamed for to this day.
But we
Still
don't
to this day, yes.
Carlos Toro is still a moderator on YouTube.
Yeah, as he should
Jeremy.
be.
Because Carlos is here to report on Karrion Kross whenever he keeps coming back.
Also
Yeah.
true.
What are you eating this morning? Is that more chicken?
It is crusted hot honey chicken. Yes,
Looks
That
good.
sounds good.
it's very good. Okay, hidden users, and you can't just search them.
No, you got to scroll through it like a dumbass. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's a pain. Oh, I thought that I scroll. Oh my God, 322 more. This is
many-
horrible.
People have we blocked on this
A
channel?
lot over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
there.
done it. Yeah. When you have as many mods as we do, we put the ban hammer down for certain things.
Yeah.
Lots of
True.
porn accounts, lots of fake WDB Gareth accounts. Man, there's like 7 of those. Like, who is the person that is just registering one of those? And now I got to try to, you can't. Yeah. You can search. Listen, King Potate. I don't see you on here, buddy.
I hope it wasn't on Overbooked.
He said it was on Overbooked.
Oh,
he said one of them. He said one of them was on Overbooked. Yeah.
That's upsetting. That should definitely not happen because we like King Potatoes.
Yeah.
He's Andrew Zarian's best friend and cousin.
Who banned him on Overbooked? Was that during Robin Maggie's show?
Ooh, let's see. Let's see who is even a mod on Fightful Overbooked. We're gonna play Clue here live on the air.
Okay, boy.
Let's go.
Listen, Rob Wilkins has been known to snap back at people here and there.
Yep.
Maybe I've rubbed off on him a little bit because he's a very nice guy.
Please don't rub off on our employees.
No promises. Advanced settings, only consensual, of course.
Yes.
Damn it, now I don't even know what to go into. Free Lisa Ann. Boy, that was wild.
People in the chat getting this.
I want to know who you all think did it. Now, here's the thing. With the rubbing my inner thigh guy that we found out who it was. That was pretty easy. That was, what is it?
I don't even know who did that.
Brian. You remember him?
Brian, not Rose.
Ryan. No, not
Oh,
oh, come on.
I was about to say.
I was saying that Brian. No, Ryan.
Oh, Ryan.
Ryan.
I don't remember this person at all. Sorry.
I'll send you his. Let me put it in the private chat because I don't want to dox him. But I mean, he said it was okay if I said who it was because let me tell you.
Oh, okay. I do vaguely remember this person.
And if you ever looked at his Twitter, that did not come as a surprise whatsoever.
All right.
Whatsoever.
Ryan is our Jeff.
Okay, here we go. Approved users, hidden users. Let's see here. First off, here are the mods on your channel. Ryan Sullivan.
Yep.
Dalton Castle's friend Ricardo. I do not know who that is.
I don't know who that is. That's got to be a Robin Maggie thing.
Yeah.
I love that Cher is a managing moderator, as is Kate.
Yeah.
Standard moderators, Michael Bunge.
Oh, you can remove him, by the way.
Okay, he's gone. Tim Stone.
Yeah, that's Tim. That's my Tim.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
Jesse, the Buckeye, of course. Oh my God, there is a name here that. How the hell? I'm not even saying it out loud. Joel, I'm gonna get your reaction because it could be this person coming back for revenge.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh.
How do you still have this person on your mod list?
It's kind of a set.
Are you serious?
Listen, man.
This person got let go 2 years ago. And now let me make this clear. Inner thigh person left of their own volition. They were an OG, and we're like, you know what? Okay, we'll let you ride it out. This person was terminated over 2 years ago. Embarrassing.
Just take us to a Jays game. It'll figure everything out.
Danielle Jetty.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Rob Wilkins. Cher Delaware. She's got multiple mod accounts.
Probably a reason.
Maggie, Soupy, Stone Osborne, great guy.
Yeah.
JJ, Kyler, JR 1990. Who's JR? Is that like Jim Ross 1990 version?
That's a Jeremy. I know what that is. That's a Jeremy guy. That's from the old guard. Yeah, that's
okay.
Now some of the banned users here. Naked HD XYZ. Delete Tinder. We have sex cheaper.
That was a mistake. We meant to.
Why would you? Yeah. They're definitely good to go. They seem like the kind of person we want to be in business with.
Yep. Today's episode, by the way, is going to be 5 hours long at this rate.
Kinky stuff. King Potate, my friend, you are not on this list. You are not banned. I don't know what to tell you. You are good to go. Absolutely not banned. I'm checking it myself live on the air, King Potate. So,
King, have you tried turning your computer off and on again?
Yeah. Damn, y'all ban a lot of people.
I don't think I ban anybody.
There's also remember what this channel used to be. So that could have been
You know what? That's true. That's true. It has been rebooted a couple times. It's been The Distraction. It's been Fightful MMA.
I'm pretty sure it's an MMA. A lot of MMA bannings.
That is, fair point. I'm surprised fucking James Lynch ain't still a mod on here.
We did do one round of getting rid of people. It just hasn't been for
Showdown. Joe Ferraro is listed as an approved mod. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, Cody Will's asking the important question. We tried blowing on the cartridge. King Potato, try that. Might work.
Yeah, sorry, King Potato. We have discovered this on the air, guys. It was wonderful visiting you. I'm thinking that we will do some contract news today. I think we'll take a little bit of a breather from what we've been talking about with the Raw or the Rock Seth stuff. I don't have any new developments on the Vince stuff, which anyway, that goes on the free tier of Fightful Select. But I'm thinking some contract news today. Thank you.
Exactly. No pop.
So this is what I get to deal with.
No pop for contract news.
No pop. No pop.
Contracts, Joel?
No. We all want carrying contracts.
No, stop it.
All right, let's get a couple of these. Tim Winninger Jr. sent out 10 minutes behind. Well, I hope you have now caught up, because 10 minutes ago we started looking for King Potato on our banned list. By the way, please come back, King. Anyway, 10 minutes behind, but Roman is not losing before Survivor Series. They want him to pass Hogan. The Hogan thing is always interesting to me. People are wrapped up on this non-existent list because at one point there was talk about, quote, refreshing the records. They've refreshed the records. They've refreshed a lot of records. I think we can stop talking about the passing Hogan thing, because Hogan isn't persona non grata in WWE these days, given the fact that, I don't know, he was all over the Rumble builds.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Hogan thing plays into it. If he makes it past WrestleMania, then it seems like they probably do want him to surpass Hogan. Bruno, I think, is out of reach. But if they go for it, bless him.
Paul loves Bruno. Paul brought Bruno back. So there's no reason for him to go out there. And I also like Bruno he's well beloved by almost everyone in wrestling.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to go that far, but if Roman makes it past WrestleMania, and look, if they're just do Rock, he could very well make it past WrestleMania. Although, apparently, according to Sean, reportedly, Rock might be pushing to win. He might be pushing to win this title. And I'm for it. If you're going to do something stupid, do the absolute stupidest thing possible. And The Rock being the one to dethrone Roman, I jokingly, trollingly said it should be Cena, because Cena is, you break the Flair record, you make John Cena, he certainly needs it. But Rock is objectively way more funnier than Cena doing it. At least Cena, there's kind of a purpose of like, you're breaking the Flair record or tying the Flair record. Like, that's like fine. Rock, there's no reason for it outside of he gets to carry that belt on the movie sets. Fast and Furious with that belt there.
That belt rides shotgun in every scene.
Oh yeah, I'm for it. Absolutely for it.
And also, let's not forget, Paul Levesque and The Rock and Shawn Michaels weren't exactly all best friends for a long time. This could very much be Rock being like, "Oh, guess who's got power now, bitch?"
I said it in one of my 500 troll tweets this weekend. Triple H, he comes in there, he's got all his friends. He gets Gabe, he gets Road Dogg, he gets Sean, he gets Jim Smallman, he gets all of it.
Not Jim Smallman.
Kevin Dunn's out. Like he's pushing out the old Vince guard. He's got all his friends in there. It's like, oh, I'm well protected, well insulated here in my power structure in WWE. That shit don't matter when Dwayne calls up Nick and Ari and's like, you want some Terramana? That your little infrastructure of WWE hierarchy don't matter when The Rock is offering the Terramana, baby.
It's true. He comes up with the big Texas Mickeys, and they're just like, everybody gets one, especially you, Ari. You get two. And that's how we got here. Chris also said, Music and Moonsaults, by the way, is the channel. The Rumble went off the air with Cole running, "Hey, Roman, what inning are we in now? And what are we doing here?" That was my favorite sign-off on a pay-per-view in such a long time. We're still bottom of the third, I guess.
Yeah, maybe the fourth. Yeah,
Do you think
maybe.
the fourth?
Yeah, it feels like they're at least in the fourth.
Sounds like they're getting closer to pleading the fifth.
They're
PW
moving-
Insider.
they're
I was
moving
making a reference just to move us on.
Okay, fine.
William Rapp Jr. says PW Insider reported Rock pushed for the match after Punk's surgery.
That's objectively more funny.
It would be
It's
funny.
so much funnier if Rock is like, "Oh, Punk got injured. Let me insert myself into a match that had nothing to do with CM Punk. Let me insert myself in here because Punk is out." When they could have just as easily done Seth and Gunther and been fine, because again, they set that up. They set that up the Monday before the Rumble. They could have easily done Seth and Gunther and been fine with that. And they could have done Cody and Roman. And Rock is like, "You guys don't have Punk anymore? Let me insert myself into this." You think Rock like actually watches the product?
No, I think he gets notes from Brian Gewirtz.
You think Gewirtz actually watches the product? Like,
I said
they
notes,
gotta-
not answers.
they gotta like, did they not understand? I'm not the biggest Cody fan in the world. Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of these guys. I root for chaos. But I get how over Cody is. I understand how big of a deal Cody is. The merch he moves, the reaction he gets, the connection he has. This guy, as Steven Jensen likes to say, he is your Cena. He is that top baby face that can carry the company. I get that. You got to be a fool not to see that. Is The Rock just a fool? Like, is he just... He doesn't get it.
Well, okay, hold on. I will posit this. When you are someone who is very, very rich and very, very powerful, you're surrounded by people who make you feel good about the fact that you are very, very rich, very, very powerful, and therefore very much beloved. I think The Rock thinks he's doing something that people want to see. And much like when he raised Roman's arm after the Rumble in 2014 in Philly, not 2014, sorry, 2015. Or was it 16? 2016? When Roman won the Rumble and The Rock was like, "Nah," and everyone was like booing, and he's like, "What does this sound?" It was 15. Yeah, because 14 was the animal. Anyway, my point being, I think Rock thinks he's doing something good, and Rock thinks he's helping. But unfortunately, because he doesn't pay attention to the product as closely, he didn't really expect to hear what he got in terms of the backlash. Live, the pop was huge. Don't get me wrong. The venue on Friday was excited to see The Rock. But now that the reaction has seeped in, now he's like, shit, what's this all about? And now Brian Gewirtz got to be like, no, it's cool. They're saying Boo Earns. They're saying Do Wayne, not Boo Wayne.
2015, they was a little bit different. Rock came out. They wanted to try to make Roman, but people were still clamoring for Bryan in 2015.
Yes.
That's why they eliminated Bryan early to basically tell you, hey, Bryan ain't making it to the finals here. And it was Philly. Like I said this months ago, before Rock even came back in the picture, when I didn't think Cody was going to get his story this year. I said, where are they going to do this match? Philly. Why? Trace it back to 2015.
History. Yeah, it's history.
Yeah. But the fact that they went full bore with Cody, and that's the dumbest part of all of this. If they did not do this with Cody, if they did not do this Rumble win with Cody, if they did something completely different, maybe fans would be a little bit more forgivable about this stuff. But they did all of this with Cody. They made it seem like Cody's going to be the guy. Cody's going to be the one to challenge Roman. And then they went, nah, here's The Rock. I think The Rock thought he was doing something good in 2015 and probably got sold on it on 2015 of like, I can be the one to save Roman. I can get Roman over. We can do it. It's good. I got this. Now, though, they've got a guy established. They've established Cody. And you're just bringing in The Rock. And Rock's not paying attention, clearly. Or he's got the wrong people telling him.
John Alba's in the chat. This is perfect. My favorite part of The Dark Knight Rises was when Batman spent a year trying to get payback on Bane, got him to where he wanted him, and said, first Superman gets a shot at you. That is very apropos.
Martha. Superman said Martha, and Batman was like, all right, you can take Bane. I guess Bane said Martha, and Batman's like, that name means more to Superman than it does to me. So Superman. That was pretty good.
Anyway, I was gonna say, I really hope that they make the WrestleMania match a street fight. They call it a Philly street fight, and then The Rock tweets out, "Hey, Roman, where's the street fight?" And Roman replies, "In Philly, you big dumb bitch."
He's not gonna step on a Ricky Starks joke.
That's true. QT Marshall gonna finish Cody's story for him, says Ryan Lambert. Oh, what a nightmare, right? What a nightmare.
Not rules. I got what you're doing, Nightmare. But it rules. Absolutely rules. I hope Cody just doesn't address it. I hope he comes out on Raw tonight. It just keeps getting interrupted.
We're going to focus on the positives. We're here to focus on the positives.
Oh, that would be a good line.
Oh, my goodness.
That would be.
I think even he's smart enough not to do that.
Yeah, it'd be stupid, but it'd be hilarious.
Ryan Sullivan saying they need to double down. Not only make sure we know Rock gets Mania, but tells us Cody doesn't get Roman until Survivor Series. And that's the thing. When you talk about the idea of Rock winning the World Championship at WrestleMania, then they've got to turn it into Cody versus Rock, which is like, why? What is this? Like, what Rock's like, I'm going to put over Cody. It's like, you don't need to put over Cody unless you want to get booed on your final. Like, what are we doing here? That's the one thing that really irks me about all of this.
They should do here's the best booking possible for this, Joel. The best booking possible. Roman stays Roman. He's awesome. He's great. Love Roman Reigns. Rock comes out. It just turns onto a burial of Cody Rhodes. They don't even care about this tribal chief stuff anymore. Head of the table. Roman and Rock just like bond over how much of a bitch Cody is. But then they make reference of like, but I still want to beat you. I still need that head of the table. We got to prove to Cody who's the superior between us. And they just completely bury Cody. And Cody just comes out on Raw every week because he's not part of SmackDown. He just comes out on Raw, and every time he's about to speak about it, he gets attacked. Just a new challenger for Cody. Here comes Shinsuke to beat him up. Oh, here's Priest. Here's Balor. Now, who else is there? Here's Gunther. Here, I guess Seth can come out. Cody just gets attacked every single time. And Cody, in the main event of WrestleMania, is a heel Rock and a heel Roman just burying Cody. And the crowd, the stadium is just booing them out the building. But it's the reaction they want because they're both heels. And I don't really care who wins. They can pin each other. Roman can win. They can handshake. Maybe Roman wins the match. And then Rock, puts the Uafala on him. And they just ride off into the sunset together. And then they move on. And we're left without a champion and without a head of the table. And then I don't know what happens next. Cody can win a tournament or something. Maybe he finishes the story that way. He beats LA Knight and wins the title in the tournament finals. And it's big. Yeah, Cody, he did it. Woo, finish the story.
It's the tournament of adversity.
Yeah, sure. We just need him. We just need to turn this into burying Cody, but Cody never gets his revenge. That's what we want, right? We love that stuff. The chase, Joel. Isn't that what was always said? The money is in the chase.
Yes. So I did make reference to this. You can do, and this isn't my favorite, but some people were like, oh shit, this could happen. You can do Cody versus Seth at WrestleMania and have Cody win the belt. And then have Damian Priest come out and beat Cody. And then we start the stupid chase all over again because Cody is the ultimate chaser.
People are going to be so mad.
They will be so mad. And don't get me wrong, they're rightfully so. But I wouldn't put it against Cody being like, yeah, people love seeing me chase. Getting the victory is like that one. He's the living embodiment, wrestling's embodiment of edging. Is we're just almost did a straight face, but he is. He just keeps getting you right to that moment, and then he just pulls back. And that's what could happen at Mania is he wins the world championship from Seth. And then out comes Damian Priest down that 200-foot ramp and cashes in. Oh, Rock's going to be gassed in that main event. Anyway, not important. And he wins the title, and we're back to square one with Cody.
Nah, I mean, fine. But like then Cody like kind of gets his moment. I know it's with the losers bracket title. What a great line from Roman. Roman just like, I beat all these dudes who are chasing after this title. These dudes a bunch of losers over here. You could be the best number 2 out here. Oh, so good. Just burying that title. I realize that like it doesn't really help the company when he does that kind of stuff. Don't care. I want Roman just taking shots at all of this stuff. Roman is so good. So good. That man's amazing.
He's got months off at a time to prepare this stuff.
Yeah.
So of course.
At least he uses it wisely. So good. But here, I don't want Cody even to win the losers bracket title. It needs to be Cody and Seth. And maybe Cody's about to win 1, 2 crossroads, 3 crossroads, 1, 2, and then the Judgment Day music hits. And then of course you got to stop everything when like music hits. So like they don't even count the 3.
Yeah, no.
And then Priest comes in and cashes in right before Cody wins. And he cashes in and he pins Cody to win the title, to win the losers bracket title. That way Cody didn't even get that moment. He should just like never have his moment. And then Liberty in 20 years can make reference to how my grandfather, they took the title from him. My father, they took the title from him. I'm going to finish my story. And then Rue just beats her at every WrestleMania.
I was going to say, how does Becky Lynch fit into all of this? But we figured it out. Man with beard sent a super chat saying, Cody is that one chair in every hotel room. If you know. Oh, that's awful. Let's hit a couple super chats because we still got a bunch to go through. Ali Khan said WWE trying to distract us from the Vince McMahon situation by booking exactly like Vince McMahon is unfortunately funny. By the way, great interview with Tim Marchman from Vice today. Thank you so much, by the way. We really enjoyed that conversation. If you're coming in late, you can go back. We were about 15 minutes into the live video. That's when we had Tim Marchman from Vice on to talk about the Vince McMahon situation. And it's honestly, it's a good point from Ali. Like they really did book it like it was the old guard, and it made no sense. And it was break glass, bring in Brock. That's how it felt, except we dropped the B.
It was even dumber though, because they have Cody. He's right there. They had it. It was in their hands. Like it was in their hands. You have the most over babyface you've ever had since the days of like early John Cena, right there on a silver platter to take this title from Roman. And you fumbled it. You just right on the goal line, you fumbled it out of bounds. And then it's a touchback. It was right there for you. So dumb. Hilarious, but so dumb.
Jane K says, if fans really want to stop, this is a way that will 100% stop if they chant incendiary things about Vince McMahon. That'll stop everything. No, I don't think it will, because WWE can very much manipulate their audio and just get it out there. Can the videos from fans come out? Sure, of course they can, but they're not going to make the same impact as they would live. They can change that. And then he also sent another super chat saying, the way Rock was on board before the reports dropped supposes that companies or individuals are ever aware of reports coming out before they do. You want to take that one?
I gotta reread it to make sure I understand that. I don't know if they were aware of what came out before it did. I mean, high executives claim they hadn't read the lawsuit after it came out. So I don't know if they were aware on Tuesday that all of this was going to come out, and that's why they pushed the Rock on the board, and they pushed to do the Netflix deal on that day to try to gain media attention when this is all. I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend like I do.
No, I just wanted to bring that up there in case you had some words. Speed Punk said, "Did you guys see GCW last night? Fuego and Stackhouse had a great match against Bay and my man like DeReese."
I watched NXT last night. I did not.
I also was watching NXT last night, but GCW ran in Phoenix at the Nile, a very fun venue that I've been to for Party Hard Wrestling. Shout out Party Hard. They're back. Go
Not
check
just
them out.
River in Egypt.
Yeah, not just River in Egypt. It's also a venue. See that hat in the background? That is a Party Hard Wrestling hat from Phoenix. Can't see it because
Looks like a lucha mask.
I got there's a lucha mask, but next to it is the pirate hats. Anyway, yeah, you get it. But it was a fun event from what I've heard and the gist that I've seen. But I will probably go back and watch it soon because it's GCW. Hammerstone did the main event with what's his face?
Rich Holiday. Yeah.
So that sounded like a lot of fun. By the way, MLW Superfight. Did Davey Boy lose?
No, he won.
Oh, thank God. We finally got someone from WTF who can win a match and do an interview on our website.
Yeah, he won. What else? Alex Kane, Kojima winning the title was very surprising.
That was a shock.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? What are we doing? But I'm for it. His celebration was great. Drink beer, eat bread. Thank you, everybody. Words of advice anybody should be able to live by.
We should all live by that word. And if you don't drink beer, that's fine. There's non-alcoholic options for you as well. Why not? Yeah. Anyway, I think we can move on from the Rock Roman stuff for now. Although we did get Ryan Lambert said to Super Chat saying, "Enough, Cody. Let's talk about Bayley versus Io."
That was a good segment.
That was a very good segment. I when they had Bayley walk out after the tease, it's time, and she had that look on her face. I like that they didn't just make her into hapless, stupid baby face. They made her, confront Damage Control face to face, say it in Japanese, I understand, and, just prove that she was the mastermind the whole time. She was the person who put this together. This is the way that you tell the story without dragging it out, the WrestleMania match story, getting to who faces who. This is how you do it without just dragging it out for months on end. And I appreciate that in the story itself, you had Asuka and Kairi, who are the newest members of the group, who were never involved with Bayley from the get-go, being the ones to attack. Dakota Kai wasn't there. Io Sky didn't want to do it, or at least she was kind of sitting back and watching it happen. There's a different experience at play, and I like that they played into that.
Not having Dakota there, I assume it was by choice, allows for more story to be told on this. I liked the little backstage segment beforehand with Io saying Bayley's done for, and I liked that Bayley spoke Japanese because people were like, why didn't Io just say that in Japanese? Well, Bayley proved that even if she did, she would have known what was going on. So that was a nice little touch. I thought Bayley was fantastic in the segment. I thought the promo was good. I thought Asuka, Kairi, and Io were all great in the segment as well, playing their parts very well. I look forward to the story that's going to be told. I hope it doesn't lose steam before we finally get to the WrestleMania match. That's, I guess, my one little concern is you got to keep this thing fresh. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of Bayley and Asuka matches. We'll get Bayley and Kairi matches. We'll see where Dakota factors in. She may or may not be cleared soon. She, initially she thought it might be January. We'll see if, she can work a few matches before WrestleMania. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to this story. That was a great segment, and they got a good story to tell here.
Bayley in all white was kind of a little heavy-handed, but it's just the way you play it. And who knows? Maybe given the news from last night, it's going to be Bayley versus like the entire Stardom roster, one by one, week after week. Caden sent a super chat saying Rossi Agawa versus Roman Reigns Mania main event. Who knows? Maybe Rossi will book the main event, and that's how we'll get there.
Might. That was some big news. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm up on Stardom. I fully understand the inner workings of all of that. Maybe on Wednesday we can have somebody who can see if like Scott is available to better explain this kind of stuff. But that was certainly big news coming out of Stardom. Tony Khan was celebrating, that's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely was. Anyway, Cody Will sent a super chat saying Trick versus Ilya was awesome last night. Solid show. NXT Vengeance Day was last night. Short show. Wasn't terribly, didn't go terribly out of its way. Really, all we were building to was Trick and Mello and the climax of their friendship now dissolving into a heated blood rivalry that'll probably culminate at Stand and Deliver. But Trick and Ilya had a really, really solid main event match last night. You want to give some quick thoughts on the show and talk about that?
That was a good show. They finally did pull the trigger on Trick and Mello turning, which they needed to. The first attack was October.
Dude, I need Mello to come out on Tuesday and just be like, I still didn't do that. and then we just continue along again.
Yeah, it was good that they finally did pull the trigger on that. I wonder who's next for Ilya. That's where I'm kind of thinking of who is next for him. I don't feel like they have a super strong contender for him. Obafemi is the big over guy, but right now he's the North American champion. Good match with Dragon Lee last night, and I don't know who Ilya faces at Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin won the Dusty Classic. Assume they'll get the tag team title shot. They might even win the tag team titles.
I sat there and in between matches, I was up getting myself a drink, and I was like, who are the tag team champions? And the match that had just happened involved the tag team champions.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. I guess the family still has them.
Yeah. So, but Braun might go main roster. He's doing the main roster negotiation thing.
Yeah, but you can have them run Mondays and Tuesdays. It's not impossible.
Sure.
Or even Fridays and Tuesdays, whatever he ends up on.
Yeah, I mean he can do that, but if he has a big match coming at WrestleMania, and I do think they should just almost give him the what they were going to do with Brock, just go for it, make this guy.
Yeah.
But I don't he's been such a good heel alongside Corbin. I don't know if they're going to babyface him on the main roster. It's a weird dynamic at play there. It might feel like a main roster guy might move down to challenge Ilya at Stand and Deliver. I don't know if there's really anybody strong enough on the NXT roster to challenge him.
It could be Dijak for Stand and Deliver. Dijak and Ilya. And it's not a bad match. I mean, Dijak continues to show out every time you put him on a PLE. So why not just roll with that? Have a good match. Let Ilya continue to build as an NXT champion. And then the big match is going to be, I assume they'll do a hold harmless thing, a no disqualification. This match isn't official, blah, 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 Mello and Trick. And it'll just be a bloodbath for all intents and purposes.
Cody's going to challenge.
That'd be hilarious. Cody and Ilya.
NXT title. Stand and Deliver. Cody having his
deliver the story.
Cody's having his big Mania moment inside an arena instead of a stadium.
At least he can control the weather in that case.
I guess so. Sure.
Lexus King is another name, by the way, that people seem to be throwing around. I think Lexus King is more likely to take on Obafemi and lose, but or cheat to win. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know. The NXT show was good. The Lola Vice cash in got a lot of people talking in terms of why'd she come in so early to make it a triple threat? Why didn't she show up? And there was part of me that's like, why is she doing that? And then I saw the match and I was like, you know what? They needed to make her look like a viable star or a viable wrestler, performer, whatever you want to call them. And she did that. And now I can take her more seriously than I may have before because her stuff with Elektra Lopez was fine, but she wasn't doing a lot of single stuff. So this was the first time where you saw her working in the top of the women's division and became a believable candidate. Now her and Roxanne Perez can have a one-on-one match and they can continue the Roxanne Perez potential turn while Lola Vice continues to be a piece of shit herself, and it's good.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm laughing at Damian Priest cashing in for the NXT.
Oh, that'd be great. And then you put him back in the hot tub. I think I got rid of the photo, but it's on my Twitter. It was shortly after the news of the Seth injury came out. I photoshopped the original one, the one in the hot tub with the North American title. I photoshopped it, but the people on his arm were Dom and JD McDonough. Triple H, of course, the world heavyweight title. I'll find it later, but anyway, that's what I would do. And yeah, then the rest of the show was fine. It was what it was. It was an NXT PLE, and it didn't overstay its welcome, so I appreciated that. And of course, the big news coming out was the Rosie Agawa story that Will Chilton sent a super chat saying that Rosie was in the middle of the night surprised. I love how the story is when Asuka and Kairi changed Io. I guess it's changed Io. Yeah. But if you know their history, all three women are really Io's friends, and that's a good point. They all worked together at one point in Japan. So it's a good story that they're telling. It's again, as long as they continue to explain it, it will be a very interesting build to WrestleMania, and you'll see a lot of Bayley facing members of Damage Control, and who knows, maybe the climax is the decision. The climax before the match is Dakota's decision, where she.
It's gonna be the return of Sasha Banks, because Dakota is, can align with Bayley, but it's still 3 against 2.
That's right.
So they need a boss to be on their side.
Yeah, Jade Cargill. Will Chisholm sent another super chat saying, sorry that you lost your match last night. You had a great hardcore match. So thank you. I worked really hard. One day I'll get the big victory, but at least I was able to put Dijak through a table very awkwardly. I
hate when they do like this person smiling and loves the pain. It never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they do that as like a cop out, and then they don't do anything. Like they don't actually do anything with it. It's kind of lame.
It is kind of lame, but that's the Joe Gacy character now. They got to figure out what the hell it's supposed to be. Wilson sent another super chat saying, who y'all think is the mystery promo? Felt very Japanese. I'm not like dumb people who think it's Okada. Could it be Julia? They keep teasing it until she's gone from Stardom. Yeah, I mean, Julia seems to be the front runner for me. I made reference to this on Twitter, but I'll say it here. The wording, or at least the way that they put it out there, kind of not great. If it had been Japanese characters that morphed into English, that would have felt better about talking about being like, because again, for those who didn't see it, it was like man has 3 different faces. There's the one he sees in front of his family, the one that the public sees, and then the one that does unspeakable evil. And I was like, given the way that you have some shit going on in your company right now, that is the way someone's being positioned who doesn't work there anymore, but certainly is synonymous with the company. It's like, you probably could have presented this in a different way. I understand it's a Japanese proverb, but they at WWE, the production made they didn't even try to tell me that it was people telling me that. And I'm like, that's great. But like, if I'm just sitting at home on my TV and I'm not on my phone, I don't know any better. So I felt that was a little strange, but knowing what I know, if it's a Japanese proverb, Julia feels like the person, unless you got someone else in your head.
Sid.
Always.
Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid,
Mm-hmm.
Sid Justice, 3 Faces, Sid.
Actually, this is your points. It's gonna be Tinsha.
3 letters, S-I-D, Sid.
Yeah, it's probably Tinsha because I've been saying this for a while. Xia Li getting ready with the face paint on that Boa and Dante Chen are wearing too.
Yeah, they dropped that. They don't care about that.
They don't even put like they went away for a while, so it's probably going to be Boa and Dante Chen and Xia Li being the leader, because now it's 2 men and a woman in NXT. That's everyone. No, think about it. That's the family. That's OTM. That's who else is the other one that they're doing that with? Oh my God. Chase U, thank you. Although now they've added JC, so now it's 2 and 2, 3 and 2. Anyway, the point being, there's a lot of mixed groups going out. So there could be Dragon Chew. There you go, 2 men, 2 women. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And then we have one last super chat.
Let's talk about this, Joel.
Let's talk about it. Not gonna lie, Joel deserves it. Thank you. I do. Thank you. And I think I owe Jensen $100. You do.
Yeah, I think Chi-Town Spurs said that it'd give $100 if Cody didn't finish his story at WrestleMania. So it ain't looking great for you right now.
There's still time.
There's still time.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Collision.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Collision. Good wrestling.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, when there's good wrestling on my screen, I'm going to enjoy it. I've said it a million times before. I am a big fan of stop it. I'm a big fan of storytelling, not just in matches, but long term as well. And by long term, I mean like telling any kind of story. The opening match was for Collision was Eddie Kingston taking on Brian Keith in a proving ground match for the Continental Classic, Continental Championship. Match was good. Eddie was good. Brian Keith is good. They're both great. We've given them their flowers multiple times on the shows that we do. But as many people have discussed and brought up, Brian Keith has yet to win a singles match in AEW.
Okay.
And I was like, well, why would they have him win if he's not signed to a deal? That's fine. That's the inside baseball. Now the storyline in the ring is, why wouldn't he win a match? Well, after the match, which he lost, by the way, Brian Keith did not defeat Eddie Kingston, but they're in Texas. So you have Tony Schiavone go into the ring, have Eddie Kingston blow him off. And then he says, Brian Keith, come here. I have a surprise for you. And you get a car, you get a graphic. Brian Keith is All Elite. Jeremy Lambert, in the pro wrestling storyline world where wins and losses matter, and we would stop doing the head shaking bullshit. In the world where pro wrestling matters and wins and losses matter, and you've just reintroduced the rankings, does the guy who has never won a match in AEW get just fanfare, ballyhoo, everyone's excited, oh my God, Brian Keith is signed, when you're just a big old loser? Why do they keep doing this? Because they've done it for Fuego as well. Fuego won a match or two. Even when Willow got signed eventually, she had just won a match. Why do you do it? Is it just for, again, you can be like, it's a moment. Well, guess what? There are lots of moments you can tell. Have him win his first match and then tell him that he's All Elite. What does it gain to have the guy who never wins on a television show where you tell me wins and losses matter, where you tell me that this shit is important and that only the best, the elite, if you will, are a part of your program? Why do you tell them, oh yeah, we signed you to a major deal, you're the guy, we love you, blah, 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 when he doesn't win a fucking match? Go and troll me, I care.
Joel.
And stop, by the way, Chad, stop telling me it's a great moment. It's great. Yes, it's a happy birthday. It's a great moment. Come out here and fucking like blow up the arena with pyro and tell me it's a great moment. Everything's a great fucking moment when you're happy. Good for him. Whoopee. He got it. Good, great, wonderful. Run the graphic on Tony's socials. Run the graphic wherever you want. Don't go into the ring and make that this, you lost, boom, congratulations, and everyone's happy. I think that is stupid as fuck.
Can I speak? Are you done? Are you still mad?
Yeah, for now.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah. People telling me stop fantasy, but this isn't fantasy booking. This is just stop making your superstars, quote unquote, look stupid.
Why? Who looks stupid?
I think Brian Keith looks stupid because he should be saying, why do I get a deal just because I keep losing all the time? I'm supposed to be the best in the world, but I can't win a match to save my life.
Joel, you ever heard of Real Sports?
No. It's a bar downtown in Toronto across from the Scotia Arena. Yeah, it's called a Real Sports Bar. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let me explain something to you, Joel.
Okay, hold on. Before you start, Jeff, it's a TV show that they produced and they put together. So why the fuck are they making it look like they book it better, plan it better? But beat Fuego. I don't care. He doesn't work there anymore. Beat somebody and then say, congratulations, you're All Elite in your home. See, Jeremy agrees. Thumbs up right there.
Thumbs down. Joel, let me explain something to you. The 10th man might not get to play. You know, the 10th man's not the best player on the team. He might not get to play. He earns a contract, though, because he works hard. He comes out, he works hard, he has a spot on the team. Maybe he uses in spot up minutes, something like that. Maybe a guy gets injured and he has to come in and play. But should he not get a contract because he's not as good as the star player? He's not making star player money. He's not making millions. He's earned a contract. Maybe it's a two-way contract, because he's going to be on ROH television. He's already been on ROH television. The 10th man still gets contract.
Does the 10th man get trotted out onto the field after a game win, and then the owner says, congratulations, we signed you to a contract?
Yeah, he gets a game ball in the locker room if he makes a good play.
Great. And is that...
He had a good match.
Is that put on national
so
television?
Got the game ball.
And is that put on national television for everyone to cheer and woo and be happy about?
Yeah, in the post game.
The post game isn't the game.
It's part of the show.
No, it's not.
Yeah, sure it is.
I don't care that he won in Ring of Honor, by the way. I see that chat. I'm talking All Elite Wrestling, where they show the program every Saturday and Wednesday and Friday. My point of all this is, if you're telling me that this is a storyline-driven world of wrestling, and that wins and losses matter, and that you're here because you are top of the line and you are someone who deserves to be here, you should win at least one match before you make a big friggin' deal out of signing somebody. And people who are just like, you hate Brian Keith, no, and stop with this stop getting so obsessed with the idea that I dislike somebody because of how a pro wrestling show promoted his signing. For people who don't know who Brian Keith is, or don't catch him on the indies, who don't watch it, whatever it is, people are going to be like, why did they sign this loser? Literally loser, not person is a loser and I hate him. No, why did they sign this guy who never wins matches? Why is this something worth celebrating? Yes, there are absolutely people doing that. Don't tell me there aren't. Yes, on the online terrible world of Twitter, everyone was super excited for Brian Keith. Good for them. We talk about the
what's wrong
minority.
What's wrong with signing someone based on potential, based on that you've seen them have these good matches and hanging tough with guys like Eddie Kingston, guys like Hangman Page? No, maybe he has not beaten these people. Look at his losses. He's lost to a lot of guys who are top of the food chain. He hasn't beaten them. Okay. But you've seen enough to be like, you know what? This guy is worth investing in. And what's wrong with investing in him?
Yeah, you're worth investing someone who can go up the food chain and not just toss him at the top and say, oh, I see potential. Potential doesn't
Isn't that what they're doing, though? They are investing because they think he can go up the food chain.
They threw him up at the top and said, oh, this is good enough. And now we can lose and we'll get away with it because he didn't beat Mox, because he didn't beat Brian, because he didn't.
Yes.
I don't care about who he's not beating. I care that he's not beating anybody. Anyone. Why do I care about this person? Why do I give a shit about this person if I'm just casually watching this show week to week? I'm not consuming this conversation. I'm not consuming, I'm not consuming Sean's. There's no post show that I watch. Why do I care about Brian Keith? Why do I care about the guy who keeps losing? And you just told me, oh, we signed you to a big deal. Like, why this guy? Stop looking at this as you who come, not you specifically. I'm saying you, the viewer, the listener. Stop looking at this as, I feel differently because I consume all of this extra media and I know about this guy. Think about it from the perspective of someone who's just watching Collision every week, 2 hours out of their day. They get in, they get out. The reaction is just, why? What did he do? Did he save a baby from a burning building? Like, what's the story here other than he hung and he lost?
That's the story, Joel. That's the story.
But that doesn't need a full-on graphic and big moment. Because we sit here talking about winning championships and wins and losses mattering. Why are we celebrating? And that's what it is. When you win, you celebrate. Why are we celebrating a guy who keeps losing? And don't tell me potential, because there's no potential to someone who continues to lose regardless.
But he's losing to top people. Okay, so if Brian Keith had defeated, let's say, Matt Menard, and then he got the big graphic, is that better? Would you've been okay with that?
At home? Sure. Because at least he's at home and at least you get to win and you get a feel good moment.
This was Matt Menard and he gets his big graphic.
Sure. They did it with Willow, for Christ's sake.
Joel, there is a story. Just because you don't accept it doesn't mean it's not right.
The same month where they tell me that the rankings are back and everyone's excited and wins and losses matter, and suddenly wins and losses don't mean a thing because the guy who's 0-7 in AEW is
why does that mean wins and losses don't matter? He's not getting a title shot. He's not headlining a pay-per-view.
He's not getting.
He got signed.
Either. Good for him. Why do you have to make that a moment on your TV if you can't win a fucking match?
Why are you so upset about this?
I'm not upset about it. I keep bringing it up, and then I have dorks coming up to me being like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. And I'm like, well, stop being so. You said it yourself, Jeremy. You don't care about these wrestlers. You don't care about them. Well, there are a lot of people here that seem to just care about the wrestlers because they're told that they're the most amazing people in the world, yada, yada. Fine. You have your attachment. That's fine. Yeah, my attachment's not there. Pardon?
Go ahead. I'm not the target audience for this. I don't care about anybody.
But
I don't care about wins and losses.
Great. Well, I do when I'm told that I'm supposed to care about wins and losses. Again, going back to why I care about storylines. And you just told me that this guy who can't win a match, regardless of who you put him in front of, keeps losing. Why do you keep throwing? First of all, if wins and losses matter and he keeps losing, why do you keep giving him the same top level of competition instead of moving him down to then move him back up, which is what you do in the real sports world that you were just talking about? If you are a D1 athlete and you keep losing, you don't get to stay in D1. So what's the point?
Well, yeah, they do.
No, you don't. If you lose amount of times, it's so fine. Soccer. You don't get to stay in certain leagues if you keep on losing. You get demoted. AAA players don't make the MLB if they're losing. You don't get moved around if you're losing. This guy continues to not win.
He's
wrestled what? One match in ROH?
No, there's way more than one, right?
Let's take a look.
He's got a lot in ROH. He was on Final Battle. Yeah, he's wrestled a lot on ROH.
Let's take a look.
He's faced I am taking a look. He's faced Claudio in ROH. He was on final in the 6-way title for the title match, for the TV title.
Right, and he lost. Yeah, and he lost.
He was he was one of the final people. Yeah, beat Jack Cartwheel as well.
Beat Jack Cartwheel, won a 6-man, and then Claudio beat him. And so basically, so he's 1-4. So he's 2-4 if you count the tag match. Still not great.
Good players on a regulated side get signed by top league teams in soccer. Joel.
Good. So sign him to ROH. Don't tell me he's all elite.
It's all the same brand. You're signed to AEW. You're signed to ROH. It's a 2-way contract. It's a 2-way deal. They do that in the NBA all the time. They sign guys to 2-way deals. It's like, hey, we think you're good. Maybe you spend some time in ROH, win some matches. We bring you back up to AEW. What's wrong with that?
It's just a bad look on a show where your talent is supposed to be the best of the best. You don't give graphics to everybody, and you traditionally give them to people who win matches. And you're sitting here and you're telling me
they gave a graphic to an injured guy, and you were freaked out about that.
I said that was stupid too, and I still stand by that being stupid. Yeah, that was also stupid.
You are putting way too much care into these graphics.
Great. Let me.
Is this because RJ City doesn't have a graphic?
Mostly, yes. I'm getting paid every single time RJ City is mentioned about graphics here.
I can buy that. I can actually buy that.
He's really after this graphics thing.
Yeah, Danhausen got a graphic. He didn't even have a match. He just showed up. Like Danhausen's all elite.
Yeah, I was fucking stupid too.
What is wrong with signing people based on potential? Truly, though, what is wrong with signing people based on potential? Like, what do you have against
everyone gets signed and lauded as a big signee. Not everyone gets signed and told this is, this is on TV and we're going to do the graphic and we're going to make
so when Okada comes into AEW, Okada hasn't won a single match in AEW. Should he not get a single graphic?
Did Okada compete in AEW?
Yeah.
And he lost?
Yes, multiple times.
Has he been on television in other countries winning world championships and being lauded as the top of their country?
As Brian Keith, so are you saying the Texas independents don't matter? Are you saying independent wrestling?
When compared to Kazuchika Okada, absolutely the Texas independents do not matter.
Okada's been in Japan. Why is Japan made a bigger deal out of going around on the independent scene?
Does the Texas dome get filled up with 100,000 people when he comes to town, when Brian Keith comes to town?
Brian Keith does move tickets, yeah.
Yeah, well, so does Kazuchika Okada, and it's a lot more than what Brian Keith makes.
But what does that have to do with wins and losses? Now we're just talking about wins and losses.
Oh, no, because you just turned this into a conversation about Okada versus who gets the graphic versus who gets the graphic. And in this case, Okada gets the graphic because Okada comes in with that New Japan World Championship caliber prestige, and he's been featured across the world.
Brian Keith has been featured across the world. Just because he hasn't wrestled for big promotions like New Japan, he's still been featured. He's still won titles elsewhere. He's been on AEW television more than Okada, wrestling.
Great, wonderful. Put
top contenders.
Great. Put the graphic on socials. put the graphic in an exclusive on YouTube. Why do you have to take up television time where you're supposed to be in canon, where something is supposed to be important on my TV, on my show? Why are you putting this on? Because you think because the fans are happy. Good for the fans.
Wow.
Great. Yeah. Good for the fans. Again, I've said this a million
Joel
times.
wants everybody to screw over the fans. Who cares what these fans who pay their money worth? Who cares that 99% of the audience was very happy with this?
Said it at
Who
the top.
cares about
said it at
them?
the top of this conversation. Very happy.
This is
for
a
Brian
WWE
Keith.
argument at this point.
Like I said at the top of the conversation, very happy for Brian Keith. Think he deserves it. Don't think this was the way to do it.
Why are you going against the fans on this now? You just admitted that the fan base was happy. So you're saying they shouldn't make their fan base happy? Is that what you're saying? Because it looks stupid to you?
No, because your fan base is entirely online anyway. So either way you put it out there, why?
What do you mean, why?
Why?
What are you asking why to?
What did this accomplish? In the world of AEW, in the television
Brian Keith
in the world of the television program, what does this accomplish?
It told you Brian Keith was worth investing in. It told you Brian Keith was worth investing in because they made it a big deal on television. Like, you know what? This guy, maybe he hasn't won matches, but he's hung with some of the best people in the world. He got a stamp of approval by Bryan Danielson raising his hand.
The graphic was made to be this big thing in the tiered world of AEW. So yes, if
it hasn't been that in forever, though.
Well, then bring it back.
It hasn't been that since Danhausen. They just throw the graphic up
if
to
you're
anybody.
At least get a victory, and then you can tell me that he's a big deal.
So a victory over Matt Menard means more than hanging with Eddie Kingston and getting a stamp of approval by Bryan Danielson.
If it had happened a week after he lost and then he won, yes. If he beat Matt Menard, he could beat he could beat a broom. I don't care. Why wouldn't you have the guy win and make it look like this is a deserved moment? Why would you have the guy lose and then be like, oh, BT Dubs, you got a contract because you won or because you lost in this case?
It is worth investing in potential. Why are you so mad that this took up television time?
Because you have a product that needs a lot more work. And this is not how I would personally spend the time. I just wouldn't have done it this way.
Clearly you would not have done it.
And I explained my points, and people are going to disagree. Good for you. Wonderful. That's fine.
Clearly you would not have done it this way, Joel.
Feel how you feel. I feel my way, and y'all can feel your way.
Clearly.
I don't. And again, people are like, "Where's Reg?" I don't give a fuck about defending my boy. I'm not here to defend anybody. I'm here to defend why we're doing this, or in this case, why we're not doing this. Shut up, Jeff. Love you.
You sound like a hater.
No,
I understand Joel's point. Everybody, I feel I've explained my point of it. I haven't said you mad about anything. I've said
you literally sat here so many times like, why are you so mad? Why you said don't start. No.
Okay. You are mad. You are very mad.
I'm not mad. I'm annoyed.
Yeah, a little mad.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
This is the shit that we do. We have to put on the gimmick for people to watch us and be angry on the internet because people supposedly love angry people on the internet.
Joel's not playing a gimmick. He's like actually upset about this.
See, this is what I'm saying. Could just squash someone and get the contract. This is what I'm saying. Give him a win. Just give him a win. It's the optics of losing your match and then being said congratulations. It's a participation. Why was your contract a participation trophy?
It's investing in potential.
There's no potential if you keep losing. You got to win a match to see potential.
He's won matches.
You had to win a match in the place where you're counting wins and losses to see the potential.
The rankings are stupid, by the way.
Well, we've been told they're back and they're very important and bigger than ever. So
we
now
didn't get a
have
chance to talk about the rankings on Friday because of everything else that happened, but those are dumb. So
Jeff being like, you said the participation line. Yeah, I said the participation line because I saw you going off on it in the chat. You're welcome, chat.
Joel's so angry about this.
I just
So
hate on Diet Coke and Sky Blue. Ryan's got it.
So mad that a person got a job. Why do you hate people succeeding, Joel?
I do hate success. It's true.
Yeah.
It's very well established.
Free King Potato.
Sean, I had a legitimate question.
Oh no. God damn it.
Were you mad that Brian Keith got signed after a loss? Did this affect you? Make you mad online?
No, I saw Joel's tweet, and I mean, I get it. I do understand that for sure. Like, they have a track record of doing that. It seems to be like a thing that AEW does. I think it'd be great to do it after a win instead of after that. But I've heard people in AEW call that losing your way up the card.
Why is that okay?
I don't know. It is a thing, though. I mean, Sky Blue did it. Queen Aminata's doing it right now.
Joel's going to get so mad when Queen Aminata loses and gets the graphic. So angry.
No, because at least I already know where Queen Aminata stands in terms of her employment contract.
Yeah, she's so good. She's so goddamn good, too.
Do I think that she should also be getting some wins? Absolutely. I think Queen Aminata's doing great stuff, too.
Julia Hart did it. Gosh, yeah, there's somebody else says it's falling with style.
Exactly.
It's true. That is true. I think I may have used that comparison to somebody once as well. But yeah, I think it was smart of them to sign him, though. But
it shouldn't have been on television, though. It should have just been a social media thing. We shouldn't have invested 2 minutes of TV
I've
time.
got a call to take. Sorry.
Anyway, y'all see that I'm not entirely crazy, and that there are people who see what I'm trying to say.
But Joel hates when people get jobs.
I do, because I want the fucking job first, not the wrestling. Not that. I don't want that. I'm not gonna do that. Give me another job. Anyway, we've done enough.
You can have another job. You don't have to do this show with me, Joel.
Who else am I gonna do it with?
Well, I mean, that would be your call.
No, it wouldn't. This all started.
I'm here. I can get SP3 to do this show moving
You
forward.
don't want that. You see what happens when that happens.
I like SP3.
I do too, but you know, he's too busy being. You want to talk about AEW haters? You're going to talk about SP3. There you go.
That's Jimmy Macram.
That is Jimmy Macram. But now, according to certain people, it's also SP3. He's got to make anti-AEW content to get noticed.
I mean, SP3 can do this show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
He can do this show every single day if you ask.
That's probably true. You don't have to do this show anymore, Joel. I'm sorry that I'm putting all this stress and pressure on you.
The only stress and pressure you're putting on is not getting your plugs out of the way so I can go make lunch.
Do you need lunch, though?
Yeah, I'm getting hungry.
Does your lunch get a graphic?
Yeah, sure. I'll post it on social media instead of taking 2.5 minutes of time on this show.
Here's... All right. Truthfully, Joel, I'm gonna peel back the curtain here.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I do understand what you're saying. I get it. I do completely understand of why are you signing this guy when he keeps losing, when you keep telling us wins and losses matter. I truly do understand that. The difference is I just don't really care.
That's what I said. You already said this part. We did this. People are like, Joel's angry. Yeah, that's playing into it now.
I just don't care. If they want to sign, they can sign all the biggest losers in the world. I don't care. I'm just here to make Joel angry. I'm here to make Jensen angry. I'm here to just troll however I can troll. I don't care about any of this stuff. Are you kidding me? This is just stupid professional wrestling. It's all dumb. I love when Joel gets worked up about it. It's funny to me.
Jeremy also gets worked up sometimes over on Fightful.
I don't ever get worked up.
Yes, you do. We've seen it. It's happened. Go check the archives. Yeah, I'm sure it has. Yeah, of course it has. I'm sure you've been.
It only happens when I just try to combat you because you get worked up about.
Yeah. Go find the graphic episode. Oh wait, we just did the graphic episode. That's what this was. Go find the other graphics episode.
We should send Jensen a Rock shirt. Oh
no.
I'm red as a beet because of like my face is red. That's not mean like
can't confirm.
I'm angry about anything. My face just stays red.
It's my big. This is my brother right here. It's not literally my brother, but this is shit that my brother would say. Congratulations, you're old and out of touch.
My face gets red from laughing, and I've laughed a lot throughout this show. So
by the way, the opening match, not the opening match, the second match, the first 45 minutes of the show of Collision were really good. Bryanston and
that match doesn't matter though because Brian lost and then got a graphic.
Hechicero knows it doesn't matter because Hechicero didn't get a graphic afterwards, so clearly it doesn't matter. But yes, Brian working the CMLL hits after he did all the New Japan hits. That was again, I did really enjoy Collision. I just thought what we just talked about. I thought that was something silly. No, not to go on.
Nick Wayne is big old loser and should get fired for losing so much. Should get his graphics pulled because he keeps losing like a loser.
Sure. Anyway, we're done here. It's been 2.5 hours. We've gone way over time. Thanks again to Tim Marchman from Vice News for joining us at the top of the show. Jeremy, do you have anything to plug before we get out of here?
We should probably plug where this show is regularly because it's not on this channel regularly.
That's right. If you want to see us banter and argue and sometimes even laugh over on Fightful Overbooked, that's our sister channel. That's Fightful Overbooked. You can go and subscribe to us there. And we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. until noon-ish talking about this and other stuff in the wrestling and outside wrestling world. And yeah, come and join us. Come and hang out with us. Lots of other content drops daily on that channel as well. Jeremy shows his face too.
I mean, I guess
you do. There's FMC, if you want basketball.
Oh yeah, trade deadlines on Thursday, everybody. I think we're going to do a special show on Thursday afternoon to talk about the trade deadline, myself and SP3, on top of our usual show that we're going to do as well. We'll get graphics for everybody. Bunch of
probably
losers
good idea.
Getting graphics.
Could you actually? This is a bit that I think is we're just gonna have to continue doing this from now on. It's just it. Anyway. Yeah, if you want to see tranquilizers.
The Lakers hung a banner for an in-season tournament, Joel. A tournament that didn't matter, that didn't actually count on the wins and losses. And they hung a banner for it. And then all they do is a bunch of losing. They should take down the banner.
I agree. Look at that. I'm sure SP3 had the same take as well. Anyway, go check out that stuff and plenty more. This Wednesday on this channel, my long-form interview with Speedball Mike Bailey drops.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to that. The notes are up over on Fightful Select. Best $5 in the business. I can say that here. And I don't know if you have anything else to plug.
Fightful Overbooked. Yes. Rob and Maggie coexisting. That's Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Spotlight this week on this channel, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Very early show. I don't know how much I'm going to speak unless I'm trolling Steven Jensen to get a big reaction out of him. I think he spoke a little bit about it on the Weekender, but that's, kind of a solo format for Jensen. I will be able to see Jensen knows I'm trolling though. So that's but I can still rile him up. I know I can rile up Jensen when it comes to the Cody Rhodes and The Rock cutting in line.
It's like Private Party just getting walked in through the velvet rope.
Losers. Just a bunch of losers.
Losers.
How are they got a graphic? How are they getting a title shot?
Where's the Rock?
Who's getting title shots around here? These losers getting title shots. The ranking. Why is Tomohiro Ishii getting an international title shot? All he does is lose.
That's true.
On AEW television.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I think that's a very poignant comment.
He's a big old loser.
A big old loser.
Everybody in AEW is just a giant loser. No one should pay attention to that show because the wins and losses don't actually matter. They lie to you about wins and losses mattering on that show. It's all lies. Wrestling is one big lie. Everyone's a loser. You're a loser for watching it. Your fandom doesn't matter.
Yes.
What you like doesn't matter. What you care about does not matter. All we're doing is making graphics and posts online and proving our loserdom to everyone in the world. Thank you to all of you losers for tuning in and watching this show. Continue on with the rest of your day being a big old giant loser.
I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPERL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, and losers beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. We're back on Overbooked on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Cheers.